Hey, we're live again, and we're doing some more Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. And last time, we saved our Maya, and now we're getting some behind-the-scenes stuff about the kingdom. All right, so I kind of stopped it last time because I thought it seemed like we were just jumping straight into another chapter rather than this being the end of the previous chapter. So here we go. Coraline Sybil. Oh, they've arrived. Coraline Sybil. Occupation, Duchess. Age 38. The head of House Sybil and the Minister of Justice. Her noble house is one of the four-pillar families and is the most powerful of them. Her family has managed the judicial and legislative branches of Weirengard's government for generations. Okay. See, you had nothing to worry about, Your Grace. It seemed that the Minister of Justice and the High Speaker had not yet arrived. Coraline Sybil and Theon Archius were the most powerful people in this room, in theory. They represented the justice system and the church respectively, but both of their heads were always in the clouds. Their dispositions made them more akin to cattle that could be distracted and coaxed with shiny trinkets. Wow, narrator. How do you really feel about these people? Coraline was always ruminating about fate and the cosmos. She'd often confuse astrology with philosophy. How silly. Theon was blinded by his obsession with the Scaled Lord and his stories. William was almost certain that his noble house had written half of those stories. Okay. No, I was worried that something had befallen your convoy. I've been praying to the Scaled Lord for your safety. Theon Archius, occupation High Speaker, age 81, the devout leader of the Church of Bahamut. I don't think I've met anyone who reveres the Scaled Lord as much as he does. Oh no. So it's, oh, I was wondering who the Scaled Lord was. It's one of the summons from Final Fantasy. Okay. Remus Virgili, or Virgili, depends how you want to pronounce it. You two are late. Remus Virgili, occupation Royal Advisor, age unknown. A mysterious lord who appears to be close to the royal family. Apparently, he's the royal advisor to the King of Weirengard. I wonder why I've never heard of him before. Well, who's I in this case? Is it Tyrion? Have we seen him and a dragon in the same room together? Have we? From the looks of it, we're not the only ones. Could the Grand General not be arsed to show up? It's because of his foolishness that we've gathered. He is actually 3,000 years old, so it's all okay. And that's not entirely true. Really? And what of his recent bloodbath in the countryside? Word on the grapevine says that his men tossed a clergyman from the top of a bell tower. The man is so bloodthirsty, we should check his pantry for the children he slaughtered. Oh! Burn. William! We have assembled here to discuss the lack of unity between the four pillars. Unity? Spare me. House Freyga, House Von Sanctus, and House Sybil are closer than they've ever been. The Steel Winds are the odd one out. Unity requires trust, and he has done nothing but spill the blood of the people we've trusted him to protect. His recent actions have been excessive. No one here is disputing that. My dear Duchess, his excess has merchants refusing to move caravans through the countryside. The commoners are crying for justice and turning to insurrection, something that the Grand General is supposed to be putting a stop to. The other nations whisper about us like we're a barbarian state dressed in fancy robes. Trade has slowed. The Scaled Lord teaches that prosperity is a covenant between every man and Weirengard. House Steelwind carries the burden of protecting Weirengard's borders. As mishandled as these situations have been, he's not massacring these villages for his own amusement. He could have fooled me. A leader wins respect and loyalty. He doesn't hold his people hostage. Mark my words, if this bloodshed continues, the commoners will revolt. These recent insurrections are just the start, and this will only continue if we allow Lucio's daughter to take the throne. If we're discussing Lady Steelwind's marriage to the Crown Prince, surely he should be a part of this meeting as well. Please, what can that bright-eyed boy contribute to this conversation? The only thing he's good for is holding fundraisers and cutting red ribbons. Oh. William, he's the heir to the throne. Come now, the true rulers of Weirengard are all assembled in this room. I'll admit, the House of Lords has received more petitions against Lucio than any other general in Weirengard's history. The church has been unable to collect as many tithes as before. Even the most faithful are asking whether the Scaled Lord will support such cruelty. Their faith is faltering. This cannot be allowed to continue. Oh, look who finally decided to show up. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, there he is, with all the guards. Age 66, the Grand General, and he's an evocation guy. Okay. I know I'm late. I was caught in a debrief. I find this gathering to be pointless anyway. How dare you, Grand General? Have you no sense of respect? What use would respect be to ones who can't command it? Will you demand my respect, Master of Abjuration? Well, I... Leave him alone, Lucio. We were just discussing your recent catastrophe in the countryside. From what I've heard, the death toll has been astronomical. Did you beat your record? If you have something to say, then say it plainly, Frege. House Frege would like to move to have the Steelwinds stripped of their authority and control of Weirengard's military. Lloyd, Coraline, and the church agree with me on this matter. Is that so? I mean, we of House Segdus stand with House Frege on this matter. I'm sorry, Lucio, but it's difficult to argue against what the reports have been saying. I will bring this matter to the House of Lords. We'll hold a vote. Then the House of Lords should know about what my agents have discovered. The Eastern Kingdoms have joined the Union. What? Surely this can't be true. It is. I'm sure the Ordo Australis will be announcing it publicly within the week. Weirengard is now the only nation in the world that hasn't joined their alliance. Correct. The only thing acting as a deterrent to our enemies is the high evocation magic of House Steelwind. Do you think the House of Lords will be willing to oust the most powerful war mages from our ranks? Lucio! Now, if you're done gnashing your teeth, William, I have to meet with the rest of my house. We'll need to prepare in case the Luminites become bold enough to bring war to the western border. Lucio, wait! Damn it all! Since when were those Orientals? Oh no! Those Nipponese! So friendly with the Ordo Australis! I can't believe the Luminites would suffer the company of those mud-eating savages. Actually, their culture is very rich. I, for one, quite enjoy many of their... Shut up, Lloyd! We'll need to expedite our plans. What? Get the Arcarians on the line. I'll have a word with them. You have business with Arcaris? We're brokering a trade deal. I'm sure the House of Lords will be seeing it soon. It seems the Cosmos is in our favor, then. They're the only ally we have left. Stay safe, Coraline. You too, Lloyd. Please tell me these stories aren't true. Lucio! You already know the answer, Your Grace. How could you? I thought you never got involved in matters of the state. People are dying, Lucio. Children are dying under your watch. Do you think me truly capable of such atrocities, Your Grace? If you do, then strike me down now. And have the power to do so. You know I won't do that, Lucio. Then stay out of my way. What has become of all of you? Pierce, you have a visitor. Steel wins Brad again. I'm in no mood for another sanctimonious lecture. Gary. Jolene? Time has not been kind to you. Excuse you. I'll have you know that I still get mistaken for 20 everywhere I go. I suppose some things never change. Let's get on with it then. What? Go on. Yell at me. Curse at me. I doubt anyone would lift a finger if you opened this cell and beat me half to death. So, do it. I forgive you. What? I forgive you for killing my husband, Garrick. Garrick, have you lost your mind? Do you think I feel any remorse? Do you think I'm still that weak child? I just don't have the energy for it. I saw what that resentment did to my husband. It festered inside of him like an infection. I'm the only family Celeste has left. If only you knew where she really came from. I don't need to. She's reckless, stubborn, and a little spoiled, too. She takes after me in a lot of ways, and she takes a little too much after her father. But she's a good person. She's the kindest person I've ever known, and I'm proud to call her my daughter. Then you're a fool. Gary. Flintheart didn't blame you for what happened to Effie. That's a lie. All he ever did was blame me. He didn't blame you until you shut yourself away in your manor. We were all in so much pain over what happened, and you abandoned us. And you expect me to apologize for that? Effie always loved that spell. What? Do you remember how she danced in the lake while you shaped the water around her feet? She thought that spell was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. That person died a long time ago. Effie, or you? You're a weed. Excuse me? That's all you are, Jolene! A wilting weed on the road, waiting to be trampled over by this cold, wretched world. Do you think yourself virtuous for spewing out such empty platitudes? Admit it! You hate me! You despise me! If you could stomach it, you'd climb into the cell and plunge a blade into my chest, just like I did to your husband. No. Right now, I only feel sorry for you. I never thought you were weak. You were the kindest person I knew. I miss that man. But you're right. He's gone now. Good luck with your trial, Garrick. I don't need luck! With my connections, I'll be out of this cell by week's end! Ugh. I'll show you. I'll show all of you. Your daughter will be of use to me yet. Oh, the cold-hearted list check I completed. Okay, so that actually was the end of the case. That was a lot of extra information. Wow. I like that, though. And I like the implication that Garrick isn't going to be just like the first trial guy who's a one and done and gets executed. We might be seeing him again. How are we going to get all of this out on time? No. The myriad of empty plates laid around the kitchen filled Valerie with dread. Yeah, I figured he was just a mustache-twirling villain we'd never see again, like many... Yeah, exactly, that's what I thought. He's just gonna be, like, the random first case guy. It was almost time for breakfast, and soon the students would be upon them. Valentina quickly passed by her sister as she snatched a tray off the counter. Okay. She was jumping between multiple stations, but even then, each movement she made was quick and purposeful. The kitchen was a machine. Valentina just had to turn each gear single-handedly. But in her hands, it ran like clockwork. Most of the time. Val, are you finished plating the smoked salmon? Right, sorry. Valerie stared at the excess assortment of food they had prepared for the noble children. She grimly remembered the years she and her sister spent starving in an orphanage. Are they going to eat all of this? They won't, but taste a few of them and throw the rest out. It still has to be perfect when it hits the cafeteria. Okay. Valerie watches her sister lift at each of the croissant slices, measuring their width against her index finger. These slices are too thick. It's going to overpower the salmon. Does that really matter? I thought they really liked your croissants. Trust me, if the ratio's off, they will make sure we know. Some of these kids would have us executed for bad plating if they could. Before Valerie could respond, one of the kitchen timers went off. Valentina quickly rushed to the stove and began melting butter in a pot. About that, when a House Frega's attendants came by earlier, Valentina barely glanced away from the pot as she poured a bowl of eggs into it and began beating them. Her face tightened at the mention of Lady Frigga. Her whisk moved slightly more violently. What does Miriam want now? She's asking for roasted peacock. For breakfast? She also wants honey lacquered brioche bread topped with Arcurian whipped cream and Ixian strawberries. And it gets even better! Oh, just grab me the normal stuff from the pantry when you can. You know that spoiled brat can't tell the difference. Here, stir these eggs for me. Valentina handed her sister the pot of scrambled eggs. Valerie's shoulders tensed. She was great with a knife, but her forays with the stove never ended well. What? But... The stove's on low heat. Just keep stirring. Okay. Valentina's mind was already on the next task. She entered the freezer and dragged out the butchered peacock. Luckily, they'd just received the meat shipment that morning. It hadn't fully frozen yet. She quickly tossed it under the counter and began weaving cooking twine around its legs. Scaled Lord, these kids have no idea how good they have it. Valentina Yanus was the Imperial Academy's head chef, and patissier, brewer, butcher, and saucier. The staff that used to fulfill each of these roles were let go by one by one, the work of Professor Bellwether and her disdain for the commoners. At first, the twins had welcomed the chance to cook for the children of nobles. The pay was astounding, but it wasn't long before they discovered why this kitchen had seen such a rapid turnover. Hey, you two. How's breakfast going? The Academy's custodian trudged into the kitchen. His posture was heavy, and his eyes were half dead. Same as usual, Jan. How about you? Same as usual. Yeah? Valentina recalled the many times she caught Jan napping in the pantry. He's wearing pajamas right now. Oh, Jan, I packed some of last night's risotto on the counter. Val, the eggs! All right! Valentina grimaced as she looked over the pot of eggs. The liquid was no longer emulsified. It was still edible, but it wasn't perfect. Something below the Imperial Academy's self-imposed standards. Val, come on! I have to start over now! I only left them for a second. You two look busy. I'll just... I'm sorry. Valentina pressed her hands together, closed her eyes, and took a deep breath. It's fine. Just help me prep the next batch while I grab the ingredients for Miriam's food. Okay, Oh, God. Valentina saw her sister tense up. What was it now? Catherine is coming. She doesn't look happy. Are you serious? What is that prissy little... hello, Miss Bellwether. Professor Bellwether. What can I do for you today, Professor? Care to explain what this is? The professor presented Valentina with the Eggs Benedict that she'd personally prepared earlier. It looked perfect. It was exactly what she asked for, too. I'm sorry. Is there something wrong with your breakfast? These eggs are mushy and undercooked. There's no crisp to them at all. These are poached eggs, Professor. Poached? You know, it's when you boil eggs in a pot of simmering water and... Boiled? Do you think this is whatever shelter Redmond plucked you out of? I won't swallow another piece of this rustic grime. I expect a meal befitting of the Imperial Academy. Do it right this time. Right away, Professor. Valentina thought of slapping that snooty attitude right off her face. It would be easy. She could have done it right at that moment. What did she have to lose? They were already planning on firing her anyway. But she took a breath. Nothing was worth drawing the ire of Bellwether's friends on the school board. Some professor who doesn't even know what Eggs Benedict is. These stupid mages wouldn't know good food if it walked up to them and jumped down their throats. Case 2. The Walking Dead. Is Norman Reedus going to be in this case? I'm sorry, Celeste, but there's nowhere left to go. Wait, I think I have something. Celeste's eyes darted around the chessboard, scanning for a way to escape my attack. I could see her measuring every angle of retreat, but I'd been in this endgame plenty of times before. It was already over. Celeste, just surrender. She did not respond. Her eyes continued to search for the exact piece she needed to move. There! What about that? I immediately moved my knight to respond. Checkmate. Damn it! Can I get a do-over? Professionals don't get do-overs. Would you two keep it down? We're in a library. My mentor's eyes were fixed on the chessboard between Celeste and me. Soon, they went straight to me. We were just taking a break. A pretty short break from the looks of it. Oh, so it's going to be like that? I suppose it's going to be like that. The Imperial Library was supposedly one of the largest in Weirengard. I had never seen so many books. I honestly felt quite at home here. There was no noise, and everyone kept to themselves. Aside from a few dirty looks from nearly everyone here, I was free to do my research in peace. Something strange had happened during Celeste's trial last week. That final moment with Pierce had awakened something new in me. I used the Eye of Horus in a way I'd never had before. I wasn't a mage. Miss Tamora and I had confirmed as much when I failed to attune to a blank spell compendium. Which meant I couldn't learn arcane magic, but my ability must have been closely related to it. The Imperial Academy was a school for the most talented mages in Weirengard. The library on campus supposedly held the kingdom's entire knowledge on magic. But with all the books I'd read, I still couldn't find a single mention of anything like the Eye of Horus. There weren't any arcane spells that could affect the mind, and everything I'd read today had just confirmed that. With all its resources, the kingdom has to have seen something like this. Are they hiding that information, even from the nobility? Are you sure you can't tell me what you're looking for? I've seen a lot when I was traveling outside Weirengard. Maybe I can help. Celeste had a point, but Miss Tamora didn't completely get along with her. I'm sure she had objections, but even if she didn't, my mentor had always been wary about letting people know about my Eye of Horus. Probably for good reason. It was a magical ability that didn't follow the rules of arcane magic. The biggest advantage of the Eye of Horus was that no one even knew about it. Sorry, I can't. Fine. Aren't you supposed to be researching new spells? Oh, I'm almost finished. Already? You should really challenge yourself more, McCoy. Whatever, Ruby. Now, why don't you tell me what you're looking for? They must be researching non-arcane magic. Oh my god! We're under attack. We nearly jumped out of our chairs as that girl appeared next to us. Is that Viola Cadaverini from Ace Attorney 3? I even saw Celeste's hand twitch toward her sword. The girl must have been a student at the academy, but she didn't dress like the aristocrats here. Her expression was kind, but also blank in a way. It was impossible to read. There was something ethereal to her demeanor. I felt like I was speaking with a ghost. Is that foreshadowing? Or is that shadow foring? How long had she been standing there? I hadn't noticed her at all. She looked oddly familiar, too. Oh, wait a minute. Is this the creepy girl from the dream sequence? Oh, no. I should apologize, but I overheard your conversation. As she approached our table, another student followed behind her. His eyes darted to each person at the table like a rodent appraising every threat in the room. In contrast to the girl, he was as tightly wound as a violin. It looked like even the slightest sign of danger would send him scurrying away. Eris, you really shouldn't. I'm so sorry. What's this? There's a surprise. Maybe if I apologize, they won't have us executed. What? It's fine, Wallace. Who are you two? That was incredibly rude of me. Most everyone calls me Eris Illmater. Eris Illmater. Ooh. Okay. Eris Illmater. age 16, occupation student, a mysterious and almost ethereal girl. It's hard to read what she's really thinking. I'm guilty to admit it, but I always feel a sense of dread whenever I'm around her. She seems nice, however. I just need to do a better job of checking my preconceptions. That's right, like judging whether or not a ladder and a stepladder are the same thing. This is Wallace Nightgrave. We're both students here. Hi! Wallace Nightgrave, occupation student, age 16, a student at the Weirengard Imperial Academy. He is extremely anxious and looks ready to flee at any moment's notice. He's very secretive about the type of magic he studies. That was a private conversation, by the way. She just ignores that. Researching unconventional forms of magic is actually a hobby of mine. I might be able to help you with your research, Mr. Cuthbert. And what makes you so sure that is what we were researching? Your protege has a bad habit of muttering to himself when he thinks. No. No, he's just got the Ace Attorney protagonist problem of everyone being able to read his mind. We know the truth. Don't hide it from us, game. I assumed that his research had something to do with magic that was unlike the arcane. I did it again. I saw that. I felt a piercing side glance from Miss Tamora. I just pretended not to notice. But anyways, I'd really appreciate your help. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? Of course. I'd be happy to help. Wait, fine. I suppose it wouldn't hurt. Ah, it happened again. Just be more careful, Tyrion. Right. Let's see, look around. It's a globe of the world. It's amazing how many other nations there are aside from Weirengard. I've been to most of these places. You should come with me next time, Tyrion. That was a nice thought. Maybe I could find some time to travel with her. It was a holy text of some sort. Must have been related to the Church of Bahamut. There was a newsletter taped to one of the shelves. Due to several instances of crude misuse, Arcane construct voice lines can now only be set by Headmaster Redmond. Oh no. The library was full of books. I'd been reading through all morning. A library full of books. What could it mean? What could it mean? There was a table for students to sit at. I've been here with Celeste all morning. All right, you gotta look at my attorney's runestone. Seriously? You're showing me the badge now? Badge? It's an attorney's runestone. Oh no. We're really threading the line, aren't we? Are you going to make a habit of showing this thing to everyone you meet? I just think it's neat! Oh no, you're getting meta on us, Eris. Stop it. Eris and Wallace. Are you two students at the Imperial Academy? I'm currently taking classes here for the Illusion program. Oh yes. Yes, we will. Yes, Eris. Do not doubt it. Illusions? That's the kind of magic that lets you turn invisible, right? Technically, yes, but few mages ever reach that level. I'm a bit sad to admit that I'm not able to cast that arcane spell. That's still pretty cool. What about you, Wallace? Wallace has a unique field of study. Please don't ask him about it. Oh, okay. What about Tyrion and Celeste? Rumors about you two have been floating around. Really? Many recognize you from the news article about Miss McCoy's trial. Really? The students were surprised to see you two on the academy grounds this morning. That made sense. In some ways, the school was a cornerstone of the nobility's power. This was the last place anyone would expect us to take an interest in, much less be permitted to enter. Luckily, Miss Tamora had a lot of connections she could pull on. I'm particularly surprised that you're still in Weirengard, Miss McCoy. I'd figured the Crimson Demon would be off on another violent escapade. Oh gods. The papers found out about that? Crimson Demon? Don't ask. Anyways, I'm working as Tyrion's personal mercenary now. Mercenary? I'd prefer the term bodyguard. I'd successfully indicted Pierce in her trial, but that invited a lot of unwanted attention. It wasn't long before I found armed thugs suspiciously looming around my house. After what happened to Flynnheart, Celeste wanted to stay closer to her mother. Steelwind even kept the teleportation circle from the investigation active for her. Miss Tamora saw an opportunity to hire her as my bodyguard. I did get along really well with her after all. It was nice to have someone to talk to while I was getting acquainted with being an attorney. It was also nice to have someone who could toss an armed thug with one arm. That's nice. Unconventional magic. Unconventional magic. One might wonder why you're researching such a thing. I want to know that too! I'm sorry, but I can't really say. There are many spells in the world, and new ones are always being developed. What makes you so certain that this magic isn't arcane? The magic I'm looking into doesn't follow the conventions of arcane magic. Oh? How so? Well, I need to tread carefully. Miss Tamora's glare agreed. It was cast by someone who's not a mage. Oh, really? That implies that it was cast by a person, and it wasn't something like artificery. I flashed an apologetic look to my mentor. That does remind me of a story. A story? Mr. Cuthbert, are you familiar with the legends about how Weirengard was created? You mean the story about the ancient dragons? Dragons? I knew you'd find it interesting. Alright. We have nothing... Oh, we lost all the spells from last time. That's too bad. Alright. Let's talk about ancient dragons. Really? They're all 3,000 years old, trust me. Are you talking about those stories told by the Church of Bahamut? Technically, there's only ever mention of one ancient dragon, Rathalion, the Scaled Lord. Okay, hang on a second. It's called the Church of Bahamut, but they're Bahamut, or whatever you want to call it. Baja Blast. But, Rathalion, the Scaled Lord, not Seath the Scaleless. Okay. I don't understand, but whatever. Supposedly, the first mages were created centuries ago by him. What? I never knew that. Not a lot of people know that. In the year 10 BSB, Weirengard was a small kingdom caught between two warring nations, Ixia to the east and Lumina to the west. With no way to protect themselves, the kingdom was on the brink of destruction. Its people prayed to Bahamut, the god of dragons, for salvation. And, almost as if to answer their prayers, Rathalion, the last of the ancient dragons, appeared before them. He took pity on their plight and granted them the gift of magic. It was a weapon our greatest warriors wielded without equal. With arcane magic in hand, these warriors laid devastation upon our enemies. They didn't just stop the war. They joined the battle and single-handedly won it, taking large swaths of territory for themselves. With our nation protected and our power made known, these warriors went on to form the noble houses of today. What a load of nonsense. That story is nothing but religious propaganda created to prop up the noble houses. Regardless, the significance of this legend is in the Scaled Lord himself. Rathalion? He bestowed the power to become a mage on several individuals, and to this day, that power can only be passed through bloodlines. Can you think of an arcane spell that could reproduce something like that? No. I suppose not. Rathalion had powers that weren't bound by the conventions of the arcane arts. In other words, he could use magic that was distinct from the magic of today. Please, do you honestly expect us to believe a story like that? It's completely unrealistic. As unrealistic as a non-mage using magic. Got her. She had a point. It was the closest thing I had to a lead right now. Of course, it's you lot making all of this noise, says Person. One of the instructors of the academy approached us disdainfully. She looked like a woman of the aristocracy. Every bit of her demeanor carried that, from the stiffness of her posture to the condescending grimace on her face. She glared at each of us like we were the most disgusting things she'd ever seen in her life. Professor Bellwether. Catherine Bellwether, occupation professor, age 34. a professor who teaches magic at Weirengard's Imperial Academy. She's quite abrasive to just about everyone. She seems to have a particular disdain for commoners. That is Professor Bellwether to you. But he just called you... I knew letting you rabble into our walls would lead to nothing but trouble. You've even started associating with our malcontents, Wallace. Yes? How am I supposed to understand you when you're stuttering? Yes, Professor Bellwether. Straighten out your uniform and fix that awful hair. I know it's unreasonable to expect anything more from you, but try not to look like such a street urchin. Wallace shrank away from the professor. He reacted like a scared and beaten animal. I could see Celeste's fists start to clench. She looked like she was about to toss the professor across the room. Really? I don't know. I flashed her a look. Any trouble we caused would just make things worse for Eris and Wallace. As for the rest of you, your rowdy behavior is disrupting the other students. Leave now. Oh, please. The headmaster gave us express permission to be here. That may be, but the school board has placed the Imperial Library under my jurisdiction. I can remove anyone who disrupts the studies of our prized students. Why would you have authority over the library? My apologies, Professor. We'll try to keep our volume lower. I don't believe I was talking to you, boy. Know your place. Oh, Tyrion, please tell me you feel threatened so I can defend you. I wanted to avoid a confrontation, but a part of me really wanted to see that. If you refuse to leave, I'll have no choice but to remove you myself. I'll have you know that I'm the most accomplished mage of this academy. Trust me, you'll find spellcasting difficult while someone's hitting you in the face. Angry and happy. Come at me, bitch. I'll wear you like a sweater. Okay. I definitely caught hints of Flintheart in her thoughts every so often. I don't have to stand for this. That girl is like a rabid dog. It'd be best to keep my distance. Oh, she's actually intimidated. I was just on my way to speak with the headmaster. He will be hearing of this. Oh, you're gonna tell on us? I'm so scared. Celeste, you're a little scary. Aw, thank you. Anyways, Wallace, you finished this week's assignment, haven't you? Would you mind entertaining Celeste while I aid Mr. Cuthbert? I don't know. Now that you mention it, I could really use some help learning a new spell formula. You know you're around here, right, Wallace? Okay. I'll be discreet, Miss Tamora. Please do. I still have some business to take care of here. I'll leave you to it. She was about to leave, but she stared at Eris warily. Is something wrong, Ruby? No, not at all. Uh-huh. I spent the next few hours searching through the library's books with Eris. I hadn't thought to look into the ancient dragons. The library had religious texts about them in abundance. There was one problem, though. These texts read more like myths than real historical documents. It can't be helped. The Church of Bahamut has far too much influence in Weirengard. To them, history is a narrative to be embellished, rather than something to be preserved. The bones of dragons are displayed in Weirengard's museums. Without those, most would have no evidence that they even existed. Except for Rathalion, possibly. According to these legends, dragons can't die of old age. Presumably, he'd still be alive. I wouldn't be surprised. Despite everything, the kingdom includes him in our constitution. Wait, really? As the savior of our kingdom, he and his kin were given an honorary position in our kingdom. The Scaled Lord made Weirengard what it is today. He was given authority that befits such a legacy. How have I never heard of this before? I've memorized all of Weirengard's laws. Practically speaking, it's never been invoked. It's merely a law spun of reverent words to praise the Scaled Lord and appease the church. I was so stuck in my own thoughts that I'd accidentally walked face first into a bookshelf. The shelf slowly began to tip, and I had to catch it before it knocked over the other shelves like a set of dominoes. Several books fell out of it as I slowly set the shelf back in place. I hit the ground with a cacophony of thuds. Some students glanced over at me, annoyed by the noise. I really hoped Bellwether wasn't around to see that. Be quiet! I wasn't sure where the voice was coming from, but it sounded annoyed. Sorry. Be quiet! Eris giggled to herself as she watched me flounder around. Hey, are you okay? We heard a loud noise and... Oh. The two of them scanned over the pile of fallen books around me. What did you do? That's not important. Can you help me clean this up? There's no need for that. Wallace, can you call over the construct? Why do you always make me do it? Please. Construct, I require assistance. Acknowledged. Oh no, it looks like Shredder. Why does that hat look like Shredder? Acknowledged. And those turtles will finally face their fate at the hands of my claws. Tonight I dine on turtle soup. What is that? Upon Wallace's command, one of the nearby suits of armor suddenly sprang to life and marched towards us. The voice coming from it, sounded like a woman's, but lacked any emotion? Okay. I could have sworn that I'd heard its voice before. Oh, I thought those things were just decorative. This is an arcane construct. It's a suit of armor brought to life using artificery. They're designed to carry out various tasks on campus. Arcane constructs, it's an evidence. Arcane constructs are suits of armor that are animated using artificery. They can carry out simple tasks when ordered to. Ones in the Imperial Academy speak using the voice of Catherine Bellwether. I wondered about that. These voice lines can only be changed or adjusted by the Academy headmaster. Every command given to a construct is stored in its command log. However, this command log must be cleared regularly. Really? I didn't know artificery had come that far. They're still experimental. They aren't available to the public yet. House von Sanctus is using the Academy as a testing ground for them. Construct, can you please put these books back where they belong? Acknowledged! You're so polite to them. You know they're just machines, don't you? They're really helpful. It just feels wrong to be rude to them. The construct jumped straight into its task, its metallic hands moving with a quick yet delicate precision. It wasn't long before all the books were back exactly where they belonged. Wow, so they do whatever you tell them to do? Oh boy, that's setting up something sinister. There are some limits to... Construct, tell me that I'm the fairest maiden you've ever seen. Command rejected. Oh, what? I guess they're not able to lie. Watch it, Cuthbert! The construct's voice is an amalgam of pre-recorded phrases. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it uses the voice of Professor Bellwether. I knew there was something wrong with it. Unfortunately, you can't make them say anything other than basic responses. Only the headmaster can change those settings. I've heard of artificery recording audio, but to think they could process and respond to what I'm saying, I've never seen anything like it. But you just said they're experimental, right? Maybe I can find a way to trick it into doing what I want. I'd advise against that. We've had several instances of students using them to play pranks. Even if your commands are rejected, they're still stored in the construct's logs. And weren't you researching spells with Wallace? Oh, that? I'm already done. I've just been reading Death at Daggerfall. And then next I'm gonna read Sunrise at Skyrim, which is based off of a video game that if you don't already own, you should definitely buy. My name is actually Celeste Howard. Did you know they have the unpublished manuscript of the newest book? Those books were apparently her favorite series of murder mysteries. She'd been recommending them to me for the entire week. And by recommending, I meant she'd been leaving these books around my house. I think at one point, she somehow snuck them into Miss Tamora's office. I really got an earful from my mentor about that one. There's no possible way you're already done learning those spells. We've only been here a few hours. Yeah? You want to bet? Sure. Show me your spell compendium. What? No! Surprised. Or so she's afraid. I can't tell him yet. I want it to be a surprise. I didn't catch any lies through the Eye of Horus. Was she really telling the truth? I never actually knew the process for learning new spells. I just knew that it involved becoming familiar with unique spell formulas. Yep, got it. She was fidgeting a lot when we were reading together this morning. She basically forced me into taking a break to play chess with her. Oh, that's how we came into the scene. This is a very long scene, by the way. If you were in the fiction section, did you get a chance to read Wraithbound? This again. It's a great series, Celeste. The best series I've ever read. Even after nearly a century, those books had aged like fine wine. Look, Tyrion, I'm sorry, but I just can't get into it. The whole thing just feels so hammy and unrealistic. Come on! It's a classic story of good versus evil. Corin Bloomvale is a literary genius. Maybe I need to start leaving my copies of Wraithbound in the McCoy Tavern. Look, I'm just not into the fantasy genre. I don't believe in fantasy tales. I'm not even in one. Good, these books are terrible anyways. Oh, he's upset and sad? What? I should get back to work. Scaled Lord, did I say that out loud? Let's go, Celeste. Okay. Let's keep going, Eris. I had no intentions of letting Celeste get ahead of me. I read more and more about the ancient dragons. I looked at anything I could get my hands on, historical accounts, religious texts, even folktales. But after finding the 12th embellished story about a dragon fighting a knight, I was starting to lose hope. The most recent story was the worst. It read like the fantasy novels I usually read, but even I had a limit. At this point, I felt like one of those arcane constructs, hollowly reading out the words of yet another myth to myself. The dragon awoke with a rumble, hot steam pouring from its mouth. The knight responded in kind, drawing his steel and charging forward. But the dragon had his own weapon. He used his Eye of Bahamut. My dull, rhythmic dictation broke when I read that line. I straightened out in my chair and inspected each subsequent line carefully. He used his Eye of Bahamut to call upon the power of radiance to pierce through the knight's soul. Not a single thought was concealed from his gaze. The knight's thoughts, even his emotions, were laid bare before the scaled giant. That description sounded eerily familiar. I'd named my ability the Eye of Horus when I was a child. At the time, I was just copying one of my childhood friends. But was I actually using this Eye of Bahamut? Honestly, Eye of Horus fits better. Ah, the Eye of Bahamut. Ah! I jumped out of my seat again. How did she always sneak up on me like that? Do you know about this Eye of Bahamut? This is the first time I've ever seen it mentioned. Legends say that the Eye of Bahamut holds the power to mimic the radiance of the celestial gods. The celestial gods? Are they anything like the Scaled Lord? Not quite, and I doubt you'd find anything about them here. The Eye of Bahamut mimics the radiance of the gods. Does that mean the dragon in this story is mimicking magic related to the Celestials? Unfortunately, knowledge of them is quite scarce in Weirengard. Even mentioning the Celestials could very well tie a noose around your neck. It's forbidden to possess any texts that even whisper their names. Ugh! The kingdom must have been suppressing knowledge of religions other than the Scaled Lord. No wonder I couldn't find any information here. Was this whole morning a colossal waste of time? No, this was still a lead. If I couldn't read about the celestial gods here, I just have to look somewhere else. Oh. Suddenly, a low-pitched thrum thundered across the room. It was unnaturally loud. It must have been produced by some sort of magic. What? Ugh, what is that? Were you messing around with the arcane constructs? What? No! I mean, only a little. I didn't expect that to trip anything. It finally stopped. Eris, wasn't that the lockdown? Yes, I believe so. Lockdown? The Academy is outfitted with a large artificery system. In a state of emergency, it will erect magical barriers throughout the building. State of emergency? Should we be worried? Don't worry. The lockdown is designed to keep everyone sequestered. We're safe from most threats as long as those barriers stay up. But, Miss Tamora, wasn't she still on campus? I'm terribly sorry. A disembodied voice cut through the anxious murmurs of the students in the library. Students and faculty, please remain calm. There's been an attack in one of the lecture halls. What? Please stay where you are and wait for the city watch to arrive. We have to get out of here. What? Tyrion, no, that's the last thing we should do. I ran towards the library entrance. My body crashed into the door. It didn't budge at all. I desperately pushed and pulled at the handle, trying to wrench the door open. Tyrion, stop that! But Miss Tamora! I know that you're worried about her, but it's not safe out there. Look, the best thing we can do right now is stay here and wait until the lockdown is over. I knew she was right, but I couldn't just stand here and do nothing. I began kicking the door handle, but my foot was repelled by the low hum of magical energy. It didn't move at all. Celeste's hand rested on the hilt of her sword. Her eyes slowly scanned our surroundings. The other students watched her fearfully. No one dared to come near us. Celeste, I think you should calm down. They said the attack was in the lecture halls. She answered him without breaking her glare. We don't know what's happening, and it's my job to keep Tyrion safe. She also calmed me down earlier. It was easy to forget sometimes, but she was really vigilant when it counted. What? Students and faculty, thank you for your patience. The Knights have secured the building. The lockdown has been lifted. However, please remain in the building until... He was barely finished with his announcement before I was out the door. Tyrion! Hey, don't go off on your own! I desperately ran through the academy hallways. No. Miss Tamora! Miss Tamora, where are you? I was running blindly. My breath was haggard. My heart was racing. Dread was creeping inside me with each passing moment. I didn't even know where I was going. Cuthbert? What's wrong? Why are you shouting? The game is like teasing her getting killed off. I love it. It's like, I'm playing this game and you're watching me play this game because we've played the Ace Attorney series. I mean, let's be honest here. Yeah? So, like, we're expecting the lady mentor here to die at some point. So, they're teasing it. Miss Tamora, are you okay? You're breathing. Relief washed away my anxiety. I just embraced my mentor tightly. She'd always demanded I keep a professional distance from her, but despite myself, I was just relieved she was safe. Tyrion, there you are! And you're crying? Cuthbert, you're hurting me. Sorry! I let go of her and tried to stifle my tears. I heard the announcement. Are you okay, Ruby? I am, but... Miss Tamora glanced at Wallace. She slowly put herself between us. For now, I think we should head to the foyer. We arrived at the foyer. The academy was swarmed with a legion of familiar knights. The Inquisition? Don't tell me. They mentioned that there was an attack on campus. They must have used magic. Hey, it's Orem.
Hey, you there.
As we came into the foyer, the commander marched toward us. But his attention wasn't focused on Celeste this time. Huh?
Wallace Nightgrave, by the authority of the Weirengard Crown, I'm placing you under arrest.
Before Wallace could react, Orem grabbed him by the wrist and began dragging him away. Hey, what are you doing?
You three? The hell are you doing here?
You said he was under arrest? On what charges?
The charge of first-degree murder. This damned mage killed Catherine Bellwether.
Oh! What? Celeste grabbed the commander's arm and wrenched him off of Wallace. Orem showed no resistance, clearly remembering what happened during her arrest last week. Like hell you're arresting him. He was with us in the library the entire morning. There's no way he could have murdered her. Step aside, Celeste. But... No, Miss Tamora's right. If Wallace is a suspect, we can't legally stop the Inquisition from arresting him. It'd be best for you to go with them, Wallace. I'm sure we can get all of this sorted out. I could only watch as the Inquisition dragged him away. My apologies. I'm going to accompany him. I can't believe this. They arrested him, even though he was in a different room. The school is filled with plenty of mages. There has to be a longer list of suspects. What do we do now? Let's head to the lecture halls. That's where the murder must have taken place. Cuthbert. Yes? He hasn't accepted you as his attorney. You don't even know if you'll be working this case. But I know that he's innocent. She looked like she was about to reprimand me, but she just let out a defeated sigh. Just remember that being an attorney is your job. A law firm isn't a charity. If you overextend yourself, I'm not going to pay your rent for you. Right. I have another appointment in the city. Can you two take it from here? Yes, of course. All right, let's go, Celeste. I'm glad that the Inquisition is just gonna let her leave. They just said, don't leave, and she's like, I'm leaving. Oh, I've been waiting for our first case. Celeste, Wallace was just arrested. Be respectful. Right, sorry. I was reluctant to admit that I was just as excited as she was. Save progress. Okay. All right. Da, 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 da. A few hours had passed since Wallace was arrested. Celeste and I were with him during the lockdown, so the Inquisition took our statements. But the more they questioned me, the more I could tell that they were looking for gaps in my testimony. We would need to do more if we wanted to establish an alibi for Wallace. They definitely know how to waste a lot of time. They know who we are now. We'll have to expect more interference from them in the future. Hey, Tyrion? Yeah? Are you okay? I'm sorry for stopping you before. I know you were just worried about Ruby. No, you were completely right. I was just being emotional. You really care about her, don't you? She's done a lot for me. If it weren't for her, I would have grown up on the streets. Oh, really? It's just... What is it? Don't you think the way she treats you is a bit cold sometimes? It's only for my benefit. I need to be the best attorney I can be if I want to equip my clients. Still, she's your guardian, isn't she? She could be nicer to you. She's never been good at expressing emotions. I think something may have happened in the past, but I've never tried to pry. But I know for a fact that she cares for me. I've seen it many times. Yeah, I guess my dad was the same in a way. I guess people show love in different ways. I know you didn't get the best first impression of her, but I hope you can get along with her. I'll try, but only because I really like this job. Really? Yeah! You're the best client I've ever had, Tyrion. I see. That's good to hear. She was probably just saying that. I'm sure she told every one of her clients the same thing. Anyways, we should get to work. Right. Ruby said that a bunch of knights were heading to Lecture Hall 2B. That sounds like a good place to start. Let's talk. The investigation. I hope Wallace is okay. The Inquisition isn't exactly great at treating its prisoners well. Even as an attorney, there was only so much I could do. Until I could acquit Wallace, he would be stuck in that dungeon. Now let's head to Lecture Hall 2B. We need to figure out what happened. The next lead. Where should we go next? The first thing we need to do is find out exactly what happened. Miss Tamora said that the body was found in Lecture Hall 2B. Let's start our investigation there. But first, look at my resume. Or, yeah, my badge. Okay. It's my attorney's runestone, Celeste. It proves that I'm a certified attorney. Yeah, you've shown me this thing before. It's filled with artificery. I can use it to take pictures of evidence and crime scenes. Yes, it's very cool, Tyrion. How about the arcane constructs? What do you think about this, Celeste? Sorry, Tyrion. I don't think I can help you with that. Oh, okay. Well, let's, we can look around. It's a statue of some sort of scientist. There's some writing below it. Gillian Chemnitz, the inventor of early artificery. Artificery is really impressive, isn't it? It lets anyone use magic without having a noble blood. Although the expenses of owning artificery presented their own barrier. This statue's kind of weird, though. It kind of looks like he doesn't even want to be here. What about this? It's a painting of a professor with some kind of magical tool. There's some text under it. Dr. Paul Viorella, also known as the Archaeologist of the North. He spent many years studying and exploring the mountainous regions of Chardalon, and through his investigation he came upon one of the many layers of the Scaled Lord. He was honored by both the Church and the Weirengard Historical Society for this impressive discovery. It's a painting of a man with some sort of creature on his arm. Dr. Delbert Tafaros, a mage, historian, archaeologist, anthropologist, and botanist. Best known for his work in studying the history of the ancient dragons. Through his work, great leaps were made in the study and development at the School of Evocation. On his arm is one of the last pseudo-dragons, which are now extinct. Okay. And that's all we can look at. I'm guessing these are like Kickstarter backers or something. Like rewards. I can't really tell though. All right, let's go to the classroom.
Hey, stop right there.
As we tried to enter the classroom, one of the Inquisition Knights stepped between us and the door. He tried to make himself look bigger, but I could see him falter when he recognized Celeste. I'm a defense attorney. We have a right to investigate the crime scene.
Yeah? From what I've heard, the kid doesn't have an attorney yet.
Right. I still needed to talk to Wallace about that. I doubted Wallace had another attorney in mind, but I would have less jurisdiction until he made it official. It's quite all right. Let them in.
Lady Steelwind?
What have I told you about calling me that? While you work under me, you will address me as Prosecutor Steelwind.
Yes, Prosecutor Steelwind.
Oh, what's that smell? As we entered the classroom, a sour and rancid odor blew over us. My eyes began to tear up. I had to take a handkerchief from my pocket to cover my nose. Don't worry, you eventually get used to it. What are you even doing here, Steelwind? I'm here to coordinate the investigation. I looked around the room. There wasn't a single Inquisition Knight to be found. It was only her. Was she investigating the crime scene by herself? Due to the circumstances, I've decided to handle this case personally. Since we've got you here, could we ask you some questions about what happened? Can I assume that you're planning to defend this case? That would make you my opponent. What do I have to gain by helping you? Right. However, I would be willing to answer your questions, but only if you answer some of mine as well. Oh. Okay. Did you want to ask us about Wallace's alibi? Probably. Let's see. First, look at my runestone. An attorney's runestone. I have one of these myself. They're useful, aren't they? The note-taking and picture functions save so much time during these investigations. They're really a marvel of artificery. You'll see a lot of these among the nobility. Why would nobles need to store evidence? They have other uses, Mr. Cuthbert. Arcane constructs. What do you think about this, Steelwind? I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I don't have much to say about that. Alright, let's talk. Questions for us. Miss McCoy, it's my understanding that you were adopted. Would you happen to know who your biological parents are? Celeste tensed and shifted uncomfortably. That's kind of personal, isn't it? You agreed to answer my questions. I did, but I didn't think you'd meant... It's fine, Tyrion. It's for Wallace. She took a breath. This had always been a sore subject for her. I don't know who my birth parents are. I've never tried looking for them. I see. If I recall correctly, your spell compendium only contained one spell. How did you learn Mage Blade in the first place? I bought a scroll from a merchant a few years ago. It had Mage Blade spell formula on it. But surely someone taught you how to cast it. Nope, I'm self-taught. Steelwind's eyes narrowed. She was being unusually interrogative about this. You can't teach yourself magic, Miss McCoy. That's not possible. Well, I did. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Hey, I've got a system, okay? I even learned a few new spells today. I'm sorry. Spells? As in plural? Yeah, I'd like to think I'm pretty good at this. How long did it take you to learn these spells? A few hours, I think. She taught herself multiple spell formulas within a few hours? I see. I think that's all I need to ask for now. Thank you, Miss McCoy. Okay. Steelwind looked like she was deep in thought. I wish she was so interested in Celeste's magic. Well, we just saw. Let's ask about the murder. Do you know what happened here, Steelwind? Well, the City Watch received a call from the Academy. They reported an attack on campus grounds and put the entire building on lockdown. The City Watch set up a perimeter around the building while they waited for the system to deactivate. They had to wait? Why didn't the Academy just deactivate the system manually? I'm not sure about the specifics, but supposedly the lockdown can't be shut down once it triggered. It's a safety mechanism. You'll have to ask one of the Academy admins if you want to know more. From what I've heard, you two were also present during the lockdown. Did either of you see anything suspicious? No, we actually met that professor that morning. She was obviously still alive then. I see. That does match with the accounts from our other witnesses. She must have gone to a meeting with the headmaster afterward. She had a meeting with the headmaster? How long did this go on for? From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. About an hour before her death. If the headmaster met with Bellwether, he might have known where she went after the meeting. Would you happen to have a map of the academy? I do. I'll transfer it to your runestone. Imperial Academy map. Okay. Oh, wrong thing. What is it? There's only one direct path from the headmaster's office to this lecture hall. Why would she even enter the lecture hall in the first place? Did she die here, or was she murdered somewhere else? Yeah. Let's look at... Oh, Tyrion, almost forgot. Let me show you one of the new spells I learned.
Arcane.
Huh? What was that? That is the incantation for the Detect Magic spell. Detect Magic. Wait, does that mean... Yep, I can see magical traces while we're examining crime scenes. Oh, nice.
Arcane.
Aha! What? What's wrong? There's a trace of necromancy in Bellwether's blood. Necromancy? Isn't necromancy the type of magic that creates zombies? She's not just gonna get up and walk away, right? We're honestly not sure. The Inquisition is on edge about that as well. But how does that implicate Wallace? Oh, he didn't tell you? Wallace Nightgrave is a necromancer. What? We believe that he drained her life force using a spell called Necrotic Blight. Necrotic Blight. School of Necromancy. Incantation, Blightle. Blightle. Gesture, point index finger at target. Duration, instant. Concentration, no. Pulls all of the life energy from the target, resulting in instant death. This spell does not wound the target, nor does it leave any physical evidence, but it still leaves a magical trace. Spells like that tend to interfere with the divination spell we use to identify the cause of death. However, there were no visible wounds. Only a necromancy spell could have killed her. Do you have a copy of the autopsy report? Of course, but it's incomplete because of the aforementioned reasons. Died at 2:01 p.m., body shows no signs of cuts or bruising. The alchemist report has verified that death was not caused by poison or disease. Body shows traces of necromancy and illusion magic. Cause of death is not apparent, but very likely caused by necromancy magic. So, okay, this is not an up-to-date autopsy report. What is going to happen with this autopsy report later? This whole ordeal has put everyone on edge. This is the first case of necrotic homicide we've had in nearly a century. I couldn't believe it. I'd only read about necromancy in fantasy novels. I never imagined I'd end up defending a necromancer. But if what you're saying is true, weren't there plenty of other mages who could use necromancy? This is an academy for mages, after all. No, the knowledge required to learn necromancy is heavily controlled. Mr. Nightgrave already violated several laws simply by learning these spells. I'm baffled as to how he got access to that knowledge in the first place. Right. Necromancy sounded like some dark magic, even by the nobility's standards. I'd be terrified to know why anyone would want to learn that type of magic. I've never played Diablo 2, obviously. The fact that he was the only known student who knew these spells makes him our only suspect. But it's still too convenient. Something else is happening, she thinks. Okay. Huh? I seldom caught thoughts from Steelwind, but they usually only appeared when someone brought up her father. She was usually very composed. I still didn't see a hint of that uneasiness in her posture. Normally, I could only see thoughts when the target was stressed or excited. Something about this case must have been rattling her. Is there something you're not telling us, Steelwind? The eye couldn't catch any more thoughts from her. Okay. This must be where the students sit during lectures. I can't imagine sitting in one place all day. Have you never attended a school before? Do you seriously think a dump like Cornhaven has standardized education? I learned from books that I... She glanced at Steelwind before finishing that thought. I learned from books that I appropriated from some traveling merchants. What about you? I attended a public school when I was younger, but Miss Tamora handled most of my education herself. It's a painting of some sort of musician. There's some text written below it. Dr. Nicholas Goussou, inventor of the Arcane engine. His work revolutionized trade and travel across the seas. He was well known for not discriminating between the common folk and nobility, judging his assistants based purely on their merit. When he wasn't conducting research within the Imperial Academy, he was known to compose symphonies in his free time. It sounded like he was a man of many talents. Oh, they have books here too! These appear to be textbooks about alchemy. Aw, lame. The lecture hall has a window. I feel like I'd just stare outside all day if I had to sit in this place. How long do they even sit here anyway? Lectures here last for an hour at a minimum. An hour? No wonder all the nobles are such psychopaths. Present company excluded, I hope. Yeah, you're not that bad, are you? How have you learned so many spells if you're so distractible? I don't know. I just look at the spell formula and do it. I see. Is that not normal? No, I guess not. Alright, I think we've looked at everything, right? Oh, no. There's a chalk outline where the professor's body was. It appears that most of this blood came from her abdomen. Is that where the fatal wound was? There's a lot of blood in this puddle, but there's no trail leading to it. And there aren't any magical traces anywhere else in this room. I doubt the murderer used magic to clean it. Does that mean the murderer attacked her in the room? Maybe, but it's hard to say for certain. Bloodstain under the body. There is a pool of blood where Catherine Bellwether's body was. The location implies that she bled for her abdominal area. Ooh. Interesting. Interesting, but there was no signs of wounds. Okay. Rancid smell. Oh, that smell is driving me crazy. What is that? There was a bit of an accident during an alchemy lecture a few days ago. The instructor misread the directions for an experiment. As a result, he accidentally produced this rancid-smelling vapor. Vapor? It's not toxic, is it? I wouldn't be standing here if it were. It's just extremely unpleasant to the senses. They temporarily closed this lecture hall until they could get rid of the smell. Now, Steelwind actually used a similar concoction during the Great Luminite War. See, this is why I stick to transmutation magic. Miss McCoy, alchemy is a branch of transmutation. What? I could have been making potions this entire time? Oh no. Foul classroom smell. Performed an alchemy experiment incorrectly in Lecture Hall 2B. The resulting chemical reaction produced a rancid yet harmless vapor. Okay. So that's a strong smell. Let's remember that. How was the body discovered? How a body has been discovered. Okay, how was the body discovered? 2 members of the kitchen staff spotted her body inside the classroom. They reported the situation to the campus admin while they attempted to save her life. But it was too late. The professor had already passed away long before any healers arrived. Those 2 staff members, who were they? Valentina and Valerie Iannis, their sisters. How are they holding up? I imagine they'd be rattled after discovering the body of their coworker. From what Orem said, they were extremely tense during questioning, but I suppose that's to be expected. Oh no, they're not the culprits, are they? That would be awful. Yes. He told me that they couldn't sit still. He found it difficult to take their statements because of that. They couldn't sit still? Well, he's always making excuses for his incompetence. Who discovered the body? By Valentina and Valerie Yanis. Alright, yep. Why is Wallace a suspect? We've already told the Inquisition this, but Wallace was with us the entire time. He has a perfect alibi. Strong, maybe, but this alibi is far from perfect. Miss McCoy herself told us that. There was a small period when she wasn't with him. What? Right. It was after we came to check on you when we knocked over that shelf. We got separated and I kind of got lost in the fiction section. She found an early release copy of Deaths at Daggerfall. She binge read it for over an hour. Don't just rat me out to him, he's my boss! Nonsense. They are well-written books, no one would fault you for that. I mean, I might fault her for that. Wait, you read them too? Yes, but what did you think about the ending of The Uncrowned? Celeste? I found the cliffhanger to be needlessly unsatisfying. They're stringing the readers along to sell more copies of the sequel. Oh, come on! Anticipation just makes each new book that much more fulfilling. Celeste! I eat brunch with the author occasionally. The fame has clearly gotten to her head. She's clearly just dragging her feet to raise profits. You eat brunch with Altherius Duskweaver? I cleared my throat. Everyone! We are all supposed to be working right now! You're such a killjoy sometimes. No, he's right. I don't know what got into me. Well, after this case is over, I'm tagging along for brunch with you. What? Have you tried to convict me for murder? Hey, you tried to convict me for murdering my dad. You owe me, Steelwind. Oh, I suppose you have a point. Okay. Is that everything then? I think so. The headmaster's office. All right, let's go. I followed the map that Steelwind gave us, arriving at the headmaster's office.
Oh, hello there. I wasn't expecting guests today.
An elderly man rose to greet us, his hand trembling as he walked toward us with the support of his cane. His face was wrinkled, but his eyes were sharp. His expression had the wisdom of a life long lived. I recognized his voice. He was the one who made those announcements during the lockdown. Sorry for coming unannounced. You must be...
My name is Theodore Redmond. I'm the headmaster of the Weirengard Imperial Academy.
Theodore Redmond, occupation headmaster, age 88. The elderly headmaster of the Weirengard Imperial Academy. He appears to be close to Wallace and facilitated his studies in necromancy. Oh, spoilers.
And judging from your appearance, you must be the protege of Ruby Tamura. To what do I owe the pleasure?
He must be here to investigate the murder. Wait, Eris? I thought you wanted to see Wallace. Unfortunately, the Inquisition is questioning him right now. They aren't allowing visitors. He must be so scared right now. I hope he's okay. Right. She had the same experience not too long ago.
I can't believe this is happening.
Okay, so he said, why in the Lord's name did they arrest Wallace? Okay. He's also sad, angry, and scared. Headmaster, look at my runestone.
Ah, a runestone. You have one too?
It's one specifically created for attorneys. It lets me take pictures of evidence in crime scenes.
I never really understood the appeal of those contraptions.
Really? They're really convenient.
I just could never wrap my head around how to use them. They're just not for me.
Okay. Who discovered the body? What can you tell me about this, Mr. Redmond?
My apologies. I've learned a lot in my years, but I can't say much about that.
Okay. I like how both Arya and her relationship with the defense is so far notably different from any of the Ace Attorney and Great Ace Attorney. Yeah, she's almost like a chum at this point. Like there's not real. Well, I guess the closest thing it kind of reminds me of is Clavier. Because Clavier isn't an antagonistic prosecutor. He's actually a really nice guy. But yeah, she's more like a peer than like somebody who they look up to or something like that, or someone who's like already accomplished. It's interesting. Let's ask him about necrotic blight. No? No, he can't tell us about that. Let's talk about the murder.
This is terrible. To think that one of my prize students would be accused of murder.
I heard your voice on the intercom when the lockdown happened. Are you the one who triggered it?
Yes, I activated it when I received the call from Valentina. He reported that Professor Bellwether was collapsed and unresponsive.
The headmaster's actions. Oh, he activated the lockdown. Oh. How does the lockdown system work?
It's an artificial network that's built into the walls of the entire academy. In the event of an emergency, I can activate it using this stone.
The headmaster pulled out a glowing stone from his desk. I could hear the hum of magical energy emanating from it.
Once activated, the system creates magical barriers throughout the building. It's designed to contain and protect each room in the building.
Could a powerful mage breach any of these barriers?
I doubt it. The barriers can withstand a great amount of force. They even block mages from teleporting through them. And once activated, even I can't turn it off for an hour.
Ah, the Academy's lockdown system is a system of artificery that covers the entire Academy building.
Once activated, it creates magical barriers that isolate and protect each room in the building. These barriers can't be breached with physical or magical force. They also block mages from teleporting through them. Alright. Good to know. Wallace. What can you tell me about Wallace? Earlier, you said that he was one of your prized students. We also heard that he's a necromancer. I just need to understand if that's really true.
You are correct. Young Wallace is a necromancer.
What? Why would he say something like that?
Necromancy is probably one of the most dangerous and most scrutinized schools of magic. Its image has been tainted by myths of dark wizards raising armies of the undead. However, it doesn't just control the forces of death, it can also control the forces of life.
The forces of life?
The truth is that healing magic is also classified as necromancy. Most healers don't care to admit it because of the stigma it has, but that's why Wallace is studying it. He wishes to become a doctor.
But there are plenty of mages who know healing magic. Why is Wallace being singled out?
For years, he's been studying necromancy beyond the basic healing spells. He believes that high-level necromancy could revolutionize modern medicine. Unfortunately, many among the faculty don't see it that way. Wallace doesn't hail from any of the noble houses. He was abandoned by his parents at an orphanage, presumably to avoid a scandal.
He's like me.
Many of the faculty fear that he'll use his knowledge to raise armies of undead, just like necromancers of fiction. The Imperial Academy isn't even permitted to teach it to students beyond basic healing magic.
Then why did you allow him to study it?
After everything that has happened to him, I made an exception. Even if I was breaking the law.
What happened to him?
I'm not at liberty to say more.
Okay. Wallace's spell compendium. If you plan on defending Wallace, you need his spell compendium. Yes, having a client's compendium is instrumental to acquitting them. You may find that a bit difficult. After a certain incident, he destroyed his compendium. What? Why would he do that? Doesn't he need it to cast his magic? A spell compendium is a device we use to keep track of what spells we can cast. It's really convenient for remembering the formulas and incantations of my spells, but it's not actually required to use for magic. I thought of getting rid of mine a long time ago, but they're really expensive. Luckily, I have an unattuned spell compendium right here. I'd be more than happy to give it to you if it helps Wallace. Oh, thanks. Wallace just needs to maintain physical contact with it for 10 minutes. After that, the compendium will attune to his magic and update in real time. Just make sure that you don't let another mage like Celeste hold it. Once it attunes to a mage, no one else can use it. Wait, what? Huh? Huh? Wait a minute, he was about to say something else. Hang on. He was about to say something else. He just said, wait. Wait, how did you? I think he said, wait, how did you? Oh, what happened? Eris, something's weird with you. Yeah, he just said, wait, and then something. Oh. Something's up with you, Eris. Okay. Anyway, wonderful. I just hope you can persuade Wallace to attune to it. The unattuned spell compendium, conveniently given to us by Eris. How wonderful. What about Catherine Bellwether? What can you tell me about Catherine Bellwether? Nothing kind, I can tell you that much. Oof, he's got a lot of feelings. Wow, that was a whole mess of emotions.
Truth be told, she was rather unpleasant to work with.
Can you think of any enemies she might have had? You might as well list anyone who didn't hail from the Four Pillar families.
Eris!
It's best not to beat around the bush with these sorts of things. As I'm sure you saw this morning, Asphalt was probably less abrasive than her personality. Many people in the school did not care for her. Maybe she wasn't the nicest person, but would that really be enough to motivate someone to murder her? She'd often target and harass students, especially those who were commoners. She even made a habit of expelling those students for the smallest infractions. For commoners, magic can be our ticket out of poverty. I can't imagine how it'd feel to have that opportunity unfairly ripped away from you. She was akin to a Grim Reaper, hanging over the student body, waiting to steal away their futures. The human psyche can only be pushed so far. What about her relationship with the faculty?
In some cases, it was worse than it was with the students. She'd often treat the staff like her personal students. I've received many complaints from them about her behavior, but I was powerless to stop her.
But how? I thought you were the headmaster.
She's a close friend of the Duke of Finance. She's used her position to curry favor with the noble houses over the years. As you can imagine, the Academy's board is controlled by the nobility. If I ever tried to remove her, there would be dire consequences.
Bellwether's reputation. Okay.
Not good. Not good.
The meeting. I heard that you had a meeting scheduled with Professor Bellwether this morning. What time was this, and when did the meeting end?
Our meeting was scheduled for noon. She arrived on time, and our meeting lasted until 1 p.m.
Did anything seem off about her to you?
No, she seemed to be her usual self. Her usual insufferable self.
He said in his thoughts. If you don't mind me asking, what was the purpose of your meeting?
We met to discuss routine administrative matters. Despite our personal disagreements, we know to stay civil when discussing professional affairs. But to be perfectly honest, it did always feel like I was treading on eggshells when speaking with her.
But you were her superior, weren't you? Didn't she respect your authority?
We had many arguments about how I was managing the Imperial Academy. And she was very vocal about her distaste for the students accepted through my scholarship program. She was difficult, to say the least.
Okay. That's everything there. Let's look around the room. It's a small table for guests. Is that wine?
No, actually, just apple juice. Most of my guests are students, after all.
That's nice. There's a fireplace with some burning wood. It looks pretty cozy. There's a window with a view of a garden. The headmaster has a nice view from up here. It's a painting of a mage, but it doesn't quite look like a noble.
Oh, that's Jason Steelwind, one of the chosen mages of the Scaled Lord.
Wait, Steelwind as in...
Yes, he's the earliest recorded ancestor of House Steelwind. Legends say that the Scaled Lord bestowed his power upon him and his allies to create the first mages.
Wow, it's hard to even tell that he and the prosecutor belong to the same bloodline.
As with all noble houses, House Steelwind had quite humble beginnings.
If only they remembered where they came from. It's a painting of someone. He looks like some sort of professor.
That's Professor Lucas Gilbert. He was an instructor here many decades ago. He was quite the accomplished scholar and well beloved by the students here. And this was all despite his lack of magical ability.
He studied magic without being able to use it?
Yes, he was quite remarkable. Unfortunately, we lost him to illness very early in his career.
Detect magic.
Arcanum.
Nothing. Okay. All right. We can go to the kitchen, the dungeons, the foyer, the hallway. What about the hallway? Anything cool in here? This is a cool hallway. I love the floor art in particular. We could go to the kitchens, or we could go to the dungeons. Let's go to the dungeons. I looked around the dungeon, but I didn't see Wallace in any of the cells. Why would the head of a wizard school have traces of magic in his office?
Oh
no! The Inquisition is probably still questioning him. We should come back later. All right. The kitchen. Hello? Is anyone there? Be right there. Sorry, but the cafeteria is closed right now. Actually, we're here to investigate what happened to Catherine Bellwether. We heard that 2 members of the kitchen staff discovered the body. Her posture tensed at the mention of Bellwether. Oh, that would be me. I'm Valentina. Valentina Yanis, age 19, occupation kitchen staff. Works for the kitchen staff of the Imperial Academy. She works alongside her sister Valerie. She seems to be on edge due to Bellwether's murder. She was the head of the chef of the kitchen. She was close to my age. I know how picky nobles were, but I'd imagine that their children would be worse. If her cooking fit their standards, that was impressive in and of itself. How about your sister? Do you know where she is right now? I'd like to get her statement, too. Oh, she's somewhere else on campus right now. If you're with those knights, we've already told them everything we know. Actually, we're investigating separately from them. I wanted to ask you some questions about what you saw. Sure. I'm gonna have to remember. There were so many details. Oh, details, huh? And she's got 3 different emotions. What was that just now? First of all, I need you to look at my attorney's runestone. Scaled Lord, he's got a thing! It's an attorney's runestone. It proves that I'm a certified attorney. It's filled with artificery. I can use it to take pictures of evidence in crime scenes. Pictures? I do not consent to having my picture taken. You are legally not allowed to. I wasn't planning to. Tyrion, just put it away. Okay. It's weird. Who discovered the body? You tell me about this, Miss Yanus. Sorry, I don't have much to say about that. Your own testimony? Ah! Bellwether's reputation. Oh, you don't have anything to say about that either? Oh, that's annoying. So we have, what, Valentina Yanus. So let's talk to her. What did you see? Could you tell us what happened when you and your sister discovered the body? Right. My sister and I were heading to the west exit. We saw the professor in a nearby classroom. She was lying on the floor in a pool of blood. It really scared me seeing her like that. Oh. I used an emergency communication device to call for help. While I was doing that, my sister tried to wake her up. That is what happened. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. What? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? That is what happened? She's not angry, she's sad and she's scared when she thinks that. Interesting. Was the professor still alive? I don't know. But she wasn't breathing and she didn't have a pulse. She was less tense, which might imply that she was telling the truth. It's possible the attack happened well before they discovered the body. Yeah, the necromancy thing is throwing me off. Wallace, what do you know about the suspect in this case? His name is Wallace Nightgrave. He's a student here. He's that scary necromancer, right? The one that makes zombies? Those are just rumors. He wants to be a doctor. But he studies necromancy. Have you ever actually gotten to know him? No, but I've heard the rumors. He's always hanging around the cemetery. I'm sure he's just biding his time, waiting for his chance to raise an army. It couldn't be helped that people thought of him that way. I still wasn't sure what to make of all this. What about Catherine? What can you tell me about Catherine Bellwether? Nothing good if that's what you're looking for. She's sad and mad. Okay. Yet another set of negative emotions. Just tell us the truth. I don't think we've talked to anyone who had anything nice to say about her. Yeah, she was a horrible person. She was really terrible to everyone. Did that include the academy staff? She always treated us like her personal servants. Sometimes she'd make messes on purpose, just so she could order us to clean it up. I thought the kids from the noble houses were bad, but she was something else. She acted like she owned the place, but she wasn't even from a noble family. The only reason she had any power was because of her friends at the school board. I just hope we can still keep our jobs. Shocked. Okay, afraid and sad. Okay. Interesting. Why would she be worried about that? Keeping your jobs? Did you ever feel like your job was at risk because of Bellwether? Huh? Why would you say that? Gotcha. You never say that. Oh, that's the closest thing to going, why would you ask? What a weird question. It was just a hunch. Yeah, well, you're wrong. I, for one, plan to work here until the day I die. She was clearly lying, but maybe it would be best to keep that to myself for now. Yeah, let's do that. Let's keep it to ourselves. All right. What about... No travel. We done? We can look around. Celeste. This room was close to the crime scene. Could you cast Detect Magic and scan for magical traces? Sure. Did he just say scan for magical traces? Oh, I'll just get out of your way then. Before we could even acknowledge her, Valentina broke out into a sprint and fled from the kitchen. Oh, she can run pretty fast. What was that about? Yeah, what in the world is going on here? Is she the culprit? Aw, man. Let's see. There's a barrel full of some sort of drink. It's power thirst. It's what plants crave. I wonder... It's probably not lotus juice, Celeste. Several commonly used ingredients were close to the cooking area. There was a large cooking station here. They must have prepared the meals in bulk here. There was a rack of cooking implements hanging from the wall. Oh, it's a plate of bread. No. You say, it's bread. That's all you say. You just say, it's bread, okay? When there's bread, you say, it's bread. You got that? It's bread. They probably serve these as sides to the entrees. Well, actually, in medieval times, bread was often not actually consumed as food. It was actually essentially a plate. So kind of what, back in the low carb, when we figured out that, eating tons of carbohydrates was terrible for us, you had like the bread bowls and stuff. That's a little bit more like what medieval and later people ate, especially nobility. There you go. There's a little fun fact for you. Don't get any ideas, Tyrion. What? Remember when we went to that fancy restaurant? You just kept ordering breadsticks and butter. The bread is free! I might as well take advantage of it. Eat... What did I just say? Eating that many carbs isn't good for you. We talking about carbs? What kind of fantasy setting is this? It's not as if I'm gaining any weight. Weird. I've never had that problem either. Okay. There was a set of pots for cooking soups and the like. Tyrion Cuthbert, attorney of the high BMI. They must have served the students' meals on these plates. I'm sorry, I just cracked myself up. It was a shame they had to close the kitchen due to the investigation. Yes, what a shame. All right. There was a large sack of produce in the corner. There was some wine there, too. It must be for cooking. Or the professor's. All right. I think we've seen everything here, so detect magic.
Arcanum.
Nothing. Nothing?
Arcanum.
Oh! She has something magical on her, doesn't she? Doesn't she? Miss Yanus. Oh, Miss Yanus, I know you're up to something. All right, Rathholm Dungeons. Let's see if Mr. Wallace is free yet. That is a no. And the cell had a barred window. The bars were rusted. If a prisoner tried to escape, there would be a 3-story drop to freedom. There was a steel door that led into the cell. A magical mechanism covered by a steel box was placed over the lock. They probably noticed that Celeste broke the lock last time she was here. Lit torches were hanging on the cell walls. It seemed a bit irresponsible to light a fire in here. But prisoner safety was probably the last thing on the Inquisition's mind. I'm sure it is. All right,
Arcanum.
I'm literally not seeing anything magical in here. Nothing. All right. Oh. Yay, we got to do the Ace Attorney thing. This is a real Ace Attorney-esque game when we have to wander around waiting for the next event flag to happen. I spotted Valentina again. She was speaking to someone in a blue-collar uniform. I'd only met her briefly in the kitchen, but there was something different about her posture. And then there was this man in the uniform. Could he be the custodian that she mentioned? As I approached, I noticed he was slouched over. He was barely awake. He was like a human Snorlax. Even while speaking to Valentina, he was sweeping the floor. However, his movements looked robotic. He was just going through the motions without any awareness. Jan, I know you're tired. Oh, it's not Valentina, it's the other one, Valerie. But we really need you to fix the plumbing in the kitchen sinks. Someone just died. Can't we take the day off for once? I'm sorry, but Valentina and I still need to cook for the students. Wait, why was Valentina suddenly speaking in the third person? Oh, hello. Valentina? Oh, my apologies. I'm not Valentina. I'm her sister, Valerie. Valerie Yanus, age 19, occupation kitchen staff. Works for the kitchen staff at the Imperial Academy. She works alongside her sister, Valentina. She's softer spoken when compared to her sister, but she also seems to be on edge due to Bellwether's murder. Because one of them might have done the murder. They're one of my prime suspects right now. Are you trying to trick us or something? You look exactly the same. I remembered reading about something like this before. You two are identical twins, aren't you? Yes, that's correct. Wait, this meant that she was the one who discovered the body alongside Valentina. She did a heckin' murder! She did. Since we have you here... I have you here, and I will not let you leave. Since we have you here, do you mind if I ask you some questions about what happened? What? I'm terribly sorry. But I've already spent a lot of time looking for Jan here. I'm really behind on my work. But Jan was also nearby when we discovered the body. I'm sure he can answer your questions. Before I had a chance to object, Valerie quickly walked away. Wait! Do you want me to go after her? I'm pretty sure I can catch up to her. No, we don't want to scare those two more than we already have, even though they're the murderers. Anyways, Valerie said that Jan was nearby when the murder happened. Maybe he saw something they didn't. Jan Hughes, occupation custodian, age 36, a custodian who works at the Imperial Academy. He looks exhausted. He looks like he's struggling just to stay awake whenever I talk to him. Jan, was it? Do you mind if we ask you some questions about what happened? Really? Well, whatever. At least I have an excuse to take a break now. Mr. Jan, look at my runestone. What is that thing? Is it a rock? It's an attorney's runestone. It proves that I'm a certified attorney. It's fitted with artificery. I can use it to take pictures of evidence and crime scenes. Jan? Oh, sorry. I dozed off there for a second. Oh, okay. Who discovered the body? Are you friends with the Yanus sisters? Yeah. Us commoners gotta stick together after all. I don't know if you got a chance to try it, but their food is amazing. Valerie always saves food for me, so I pay that back by washing their dishes when I have time. I guess there's always give and take in a place like this. Yeah, we even shared notes to figure out Bellwether's schedule. That made it a lot easier to avoid her. Bellwether was kind of a menace here, wasn't she? So, Jan, are you part of the staff here? Yep, I'm a janitor. His name's Jan, and he's a janitor. Fire writing gif. Hold up. His writing is this fire? Yes. I clean, and I do odd jobs here and there. Well, apparently that's all he had to say about that. The murder. Valerie mentioned that you were close to Lecture Hall 2B before they found Bellwether. What were you doing when the twins discovered the body? I was cleaning the halls. Bellwether knocked over a vase. There were shards and dirt everywhere. Wait, you saw the professor before the twins arrived? Yeah, like I said, she broke the vase right in the hallway. It was probably 20-30 minutes before the twins found the body. You might have been the last person to see her alive. Did you see where she went after breaking the vase? Yeah, I think she went into that room over there. Jan pointed towards Lecture Hall 2B. Did you see anyone else enter the lecture hall? I'm honestly not sure. I was more worried about cleaning up the mess she made. Well, she could have used magic to fix the vase, as in Umaneko. Well, did you notice anything off about her? She was in a pretty bad mood, but honestly, that's pretty normal for her. She was walking really slowly. I didn't notice her at first. She basically shoved me out of the way. After that, she knocked over that vase. Then she yelled at me to be quiet. I didn't even say anything. Jan's statement. 30 minutes before the Yannis twins found the body. Hang on a second. Hang on. Whoa. No. Okay. Okay. Hang on. I just noticed a pattern. She told him to be quiet, and he didn't say anything. And remember when she came in, Wallace called her Miss Bellwether, and she said, "That's Miss Bellwether to you." So here's a theory I'm formulating. She might have been dead before this, before like everything, and she was being necromantically puppeted by someone else, someone who's not Wallace, because Wallace has got to be innocent because he's our client. That's my theory so far. We will see. Bellwether walked past Jan in the West Wing hallway. He was in her path, so she shoved him out of her way. After that, she knocked over a vase and shattered it. Even though Jan didn't say anything to her, she yelled at him to be quiet. After this interaction, she walked into Lecture Hall 2B. Interesting. Catherine Bellwether. What can you tell me about Catherine Bellwether? I've heard that she had a pretty bad relationship with the staff. She had a bad relationship with everyone. Students, the other teachers. I can't think of many people who actually did get along with her. I'm sure you had your own share of bad experiences with her. Yeah, she'd always yell at me whenever I dozed off. I hate to say it, but things are a lot more peaceful around here without her. That was blunt, to say the least. But from what I'd heard from everyone else, I couldn't exactly blame him for thinking that. Alright, firing the Academy staff. Valentina mentioned something interesting. She seemed to think Bellwether was putting her job at risk. Oh yeah, Bellwether was putting all of our jobs at risk. What made you think that? You know those arcane constructs in the library? Bellwether was the one who put them there. Oh yeah, they're so cool! Well, a few weeks ago, I peeked in on a meeting she was having with Theodore. Apparently, the school board was planning to replace the staff with them. Oh. Well, I'm sure the headmaster rejected her proposal. I don't know. From the way she was talking, it sounded like he didn't have any say in the matter. But only the headmaster should have the authority to fire the staff. Why would she be that confident? Don't know. All I know is that she hated having commoners on campus. She was really miffed when Theodore started hiring common folk within the community center. Okay. Bellwether's plan. Supposedly, Bellwether told the headmaster that she was planning to fire all of the academy staff and replace them with arcane constructs. This plan was overheard by Jan Hughes a few weeks ago. Okay. Okay, thank you for answering our questions, Jan. Sure, anytime. What's wrong? We still don't have any leads on other suspects. It's just a lot of people who saw and or hated Bellwether. Right. If it wasn't Wallace, it still could have been any other mage. The trial is coming up soon. We still don't know why there are traces of necromancy on the body. Come on, don't be like that. You always get to the truth in the end. Always? I've only done this once. So there you go. Celeste, it's only been one time. Okay? I know you're going off of genre, but come on. And after we acquit Wallace, it's going to be a grand total of 2 times. It doesn't matter who tries to stop us. Man, king, or god. I couldn't help but chuckle to myself. Okay. I guess we still need to talk to Wallace. Let's head to the dungeons. See, there we go. All right. We can go to the foyer again, too. Let's see. Can we do magic in here?
Arcanum.
Nothing? Oh, all right. Well, let's go to the dungeons, I guess. We arrived at the Rathholm dungeons. I spotted Wallace locked in one of the nearby cells. He was lying on the floor, muttering to himself. It's over. My life is over. Wallace? Huh? Who are you? What do you want? Wallace, it's us. Oh, right. How are you doing? Apparently not well. Please tell me you're going to get me out of here. I keep telling them I didn't do it, but they won't listen. I'm sorry, Wallace, but they found traces of necromancy on the body. They're convinced that you did this, and they're going to push your case to trial. What? No, are they going to execute me? Uh-oh. Are the walls moving? Are they closing in? This can't be happening. I can't breathe. Oh no. Please calm down. Wallace, we know that you're innocent. But those knights think I did this. Are they going to kill me? I've spent my entire life learning how to deal with situations like this. If you let me represent you in courts, I can prove that you're innocent. Oh, right. You said that you were a lawyer. But I don't really have any money to pay you with. Don't worry about that. For now, let's just focus on getting you acquitted. What? Do they seriously want to help me? He said, scared and astonished and happy. No, they must want something from me. Well, I guess it doesn't matter anyway. It's not like I have anything else to lose. That wasn't exactly the reaction I was hoping for, but at least he was cooperating. Alibi. I don't understand. I was with you in the library the entire time. But why do they think I'm the murderer? It makes no sense. Unless... You told the Inquisition, right? Did you tell them that I was with you? Was I betrayed? Did they frame me? They? Who are they? He backed away from us, a look of suspicion on his face. We did, but they found traces of necromancy on the body. They believe that Bellwether was murdered with a necromancy spell. He seemed to get even more tense, something I didn't think was possible. Eris had mentioned that his studies were something he liked to keep to himself. It would need to be delicate. Necromancy! Wallace, we heard about the type of magic that you're studying. Don't worry, the headmaster explained it to us already. You just want to use necromancy to become a doctor, right? I think that what you're doing is really respectable. It's nice to see a dark school of magic being used as a force for good. What? No! You got it all backwards. It's because of Wraithbound, those stupid books. Angry. For the first time, I saw some genuine rage from him. Real necromancy has always been about healing. But because of garbage like Wraithbound, the public keeps calling for necromancy to be outlawed. I think calling it garbage may be a bit much. The nobility paid Corin Bloomvale to write stories about evil necromancers. He was such a sellout. Liches are magically impossible, but people still believe that nonsense. That man single-handedly threw the study of necromancy back into the Stone Age. I had to temper myself. He was clearly passionate about this, but I'll admit it stung to hear him talk about my favorite book like that. Maybe we should talk about something else. Oh, that's why he hates that book so much. Spell Compendium, okay. I understand that you have reservations about talking about your magic, but in order to build a case for you, we'll need to present your Spell Compendium to the courts. I don't have one. Eris already told us about that. That's why she gave us a blank one for you to attune to. Do I have to? It would be extremely difficult to defend you without your compendium. It's a core piece of evidence. Oh, okay. I'll attune to it. Wallace's Spell Compendium. Alright, it contains the formulas for the following spells. Prestidigitation, Mend Wounds, Illusory Disguise, Revive, Animate Corpse, and Necrotic Blight. Alright, Prestidigitation. This one we had last case. Mend Wounds, School of Necromancy. Incantation, Menaz. Gesture, place hand on target, duration 1 minute, concentration no. Heals the wounds of the target over the casting time. Wounds of the target are magically healed without leaving any scars or bruises. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Okay, let's go back here. Let's go back to school, as we would say. You have her laying in room 2B. No sign of any injury, but she has a pool of blood underneath her. Right? So what about this? She gets stabbed. She gets hit. She gets, offed somehow. And then somebody casts Mend Wounds. What happens if you cast Mend Wounds? Ah, hang on. Wait, I spoke too soon. My eyes, as my brain was working, read the last I'm gonna read this last sentence. This spell can't restore missing limbs, nor can it revive someone who has already died. Boom, ipso facto. Take it though. All right, there you go. I think I figured out how she died. She was stabbed or something similar. They healed her wounds after she was dead, so it didn't look like she had actually been hurt. So the necrotic blight is not the way she was actually killed, I'm thinking. Anyway, illusory disguise. Why would he have a spell like that? School of Illusion, incantation Illusio, gesture none, duration 1 hour, concentration no. Places an illusion on the target to completely change their visual appearance. The disguise moves with the target for the duration. The disguise can make the target look 1 foot larger or smaller. But the pills that Mother give you don't do anything at all. Elements hidden by the spell are made invisible, and elements created by the spell are purely visual. You cannot make physical contact with it. Ooh. Okay, revising theory. The bellwether that we saw this morning was not bellwether. It was someone else. It was the culprit using this spell. I'm going to say that. Okay, anyway. Revive, school necromancy, incantation vivify, gesture, non-duration, instant concentration. Yes. Floods the target with life energy. In an attempt to resuscitate them, it does not heal wounds sustained. Results are not guaranteed. It cannot resuscitate someone who has been dead for more than 1 minute. So, okay. Okay. I'm just going to file that one for now. An animate corpse. School necromancy. Incantation necros. Gesture none. Duration 8 hours. Concentration no. Reanimates the target using life energy, creating an undead minion for the duration. The minion follows the caster's orders. But its intelligence is limited, and it cannot speak. The minion can end the spell prematurely, but only will if ordered by the caster. Once the spell has ended, the undead will return to being a dead body. Okay, something's definitely going to be going on with this spell and the constructs. I'm going to guarantee you that. I understood why he was studying this type of magic, but the spells in his compendium sounded fairly gruesome. I was a little terrified to know that spells like this even existed. Sorry, a long time ago I showed my compendium to someone. After she saw my necromancy spell, she told everyone in the academy. That's when Professor Bellwether started coming after me. That must have been difficult for you. After that, I didn't really talk to anyone. What about Eris? Yeah, I guess Eris was there too. He says questioningly, like she wasn't, and then she was. It seemed like it was a difficult time for him. No wonder he had so much trouble remembering. Eris is going around rewriting reality and memories, isn't she? Something similar happened to me after I left my hometown. Oh, really? Really? Huh. Wallace and Eris, okay. Who is she? There's something off about her. Oh. How did you and Eris become friends anyway? Yeah. There was another hint of fear from her. Oh, sometimes the other students would steal the ID number from my locker and switch it with another student's. I thought it was funny whenever that student got angry with me. Eris had a bit of a reputation around our school. Everyone was scared of her, even the students from the nobility. Probably due to some baseless rumors. Yeah, right. One day, someone switched my ID number with hers. I was so scared when she came up to me I couldn't even say anything. But she didn't get angry like the others. She just apologized and gave me back my nameplate. After that, she started talking to me whenever she saw me. Oh, that's nice. Necromancy. So I have to ask, if it's caused you so much trouble, why are you still studying necromancy? I want to become a doctor. The headmaster told us the same thing, but why are you learning spells that can steal people's life force and raise the undead? Life and death are two sides of the same coin. That's the key principle behind necromancy. The first undead was actually a failed attempt to resurrect a human using magic. Right now, necromancy can only heal injuries and wounds, but it can't do anything for diseases or deformities. If I could just keep studying, I know I can develop necromancy beyond that. I might even be able to create spells that can cure terminal diseases. Catherine Bellwether. I think I can already guess, but how was your relationship with Catherine Bellwether? After word got out about my spells, Professor Bellwether would always find reasons to punish me. She'd start yelling at me for even the smallest mistakes. Pretty obvious she had it out for the students who didn't come from the noble families. That's terrible. I'd wake up each day scared that she'd notice me in the hallways. I knew how to avoid her and stay out of her way, but sometimes she'd get bored and come looking for me. I can't believe that after everything that she did, she's gone. I'm sure you have mixed emotions about what happened. I honestly don't know how I feel about it. To be honest, I always wish she would just disappear. But now that it's finally happened, I just feel even more scared. It feels like she's going to come back as a ghost to haunt me. Huh. I think I'm starting to put things together now. Have you figured something out? Yeah, I need a moment to think through everything. The prosecution wants to implicate Wallace despite his alibi. They wouldn't have a reason to do this unless this evidence heavily implicated him. How did the evidence implicate Wallace? Let's think about that. We've learned that Wallace is a necromancer, and he's the only person at the Academy that's capable of high-level necromancy. Is he?
Maybe.
A magical trace of necromancy was found on the body. There's a trace of necromancy on the body. This means that they think Wallace used one of his necromancy spells. Even without seeing the traces, it's pretty obvious that magic was used on the body. Right, there aren't any wounds on it. And the autopsy report found no signs of poison or disease. Which spell do they think Wallace used? If I know Prosecutor Steelwind, she probably already has a theory on which spell he might have used. The prosecution will probably argue that Wallace used one of his spells to kill Bellwether.
Maybe.
Necrotic Blight. They will probably say that he used Necrotic Blight. The reason I think this is because Prosecutor Steelweather said she was going to accuse him of using Necrotic Blight. That makes sense. Necrotic Blight would have drained the life force from her body. Yep, bloodstain under the body. Or Steelwind, yeah, sorry, not Steelweather. I combined two people's names, Bellwether and Steelwind. But that's where the contradiction lies. Let's suppose that Wallace did kill Bellwether using Necrotic Blight. There's something at the crime scene that wouldn't be there if that were true. The bloodstain.
What if?
Bellwether's body was covered in blood. Necrotic Blight is a spell that doesn't inflict any visible wounds. But if that's true, there shouldn't have been any blood at the scene. But then what really happened? That's the last piece. And if I had to guess, the information we need is being hidden by one of the witnesses who discovered the body. Valentina. She's definitely hiding something. Did you notice how she reacted when I asked you to scan the room? Yeah, she ran away. She didn't even try to be subtle about it. With the way she reacted, I think she may have been trying to hide something from your detect magic. Which can only mean that there's a magical trace on her. Oh! You remember, they talked about how they had a timer, a magical timer? That could be something related to this, too. Alright, hang on. I wonder what she's trying to hide. There's only one way to find out. The next time you see her, can you task detect magic from afar and scan her? Alright. It's been a while since we talked to her. Valerie also mentioned that they still had work to do today. She might be back in the Academy's kitchen now. Alright. And I'm gonna go refill my water real quick and we'll finish this up for a little while longer. Be right back. And I'm back. Let's go. Let's go to the kitchens. Cause some ruckus. Huh. Those two are finally gone. I can finally get some cleaning done. We approached the kitchen from afar, making sure that Valentina wouldn't spot us. We were pretty far away, but Celeste had the eyes of a hawk. It must have been a skill she picked up from her days as a mercenary. There she is, Celeste. Right. Just don't shout that incantation like you always do. I know that. The Perio Arcanum. What the? What is it? There's a trace of magic on her. I knew it. Which school of magic is it? It's necromancy. There's a trace of necromancy on her. What? Valentina's magical trace. Valentina has a magical trace of necromancy on her. Someone cast a necromancy spell on her within the last 48 hours. Is she gonna be okay? What if the real killer cursed her or something? I still wasn't sure how this fit with everything, but if she was in danger, we were obligated to tell her. For now, let's talk to her and see if she saw who cast that spell on her. If all else fails, we can confront her with the evidence we have. Oh, it's you two again! They're back. Okay, just relax. I need to repeat what I told them. Unfortunately for her, she had far more troubling matters to worry about. Let's present you with your magical trace. What can you tell me about this? Ah, come on. Magic on the body. Those who hunt kitchen maids. Miss Yanus! There appears to be traces of necromancy on Bellwether's body. That's because the necromancer killed her, right? That's the thing. If that were true, a lot of the evidence we found doesn't make sense. I think someone else cast a spell on the body. Huh? She became even more tense than before. Is it possible that you saw someone use magic on Bellwether? No, definitely not. Calm down. There's no way they know. Uh-oh. Her thoughts were an open book now. If I beat her in an argument, her thoughts might show me what she's hiding. All right. Valentina clearly knew more than she was letting on. She found the body alongside her sister, and she reacted strangely when I mentioned someone may have used magic on the body. What was she hiding? Start an argument! I love just hitting the start an argument button. Miss Yanus, from the very beginning, I felt like you were hiding something from us. There's something that you're not telling us about. What are you talking about? My conscience is clear. It is, huh? Hang on. What's yours? Valentina Yanus is extremely on edge due to some aspect of the investigation. For whatever reason, she's hiding something that occurred when she and her sister discovered the body. It's clear she fears the repercussions of what happened, but she may respond to even worse threats. Oh, we gotta get tough with her. Okay. I've told you in the nights everything I know. I've got nothing to hide. Use when my opponent's thought contradicts the evidence. My opponent's thought contradicts their claim. Emotions contradicts. She's angry and she's scared and astonished, right? So I can logic, intuition, or empathy this. So her thought contradicts her claim. My testimony was fine. No, it doesn't. Empathy. Opponent's emotions contradict their claim. The emotions aren't quite right, because see here, she's like angry and astonished. She would be happy if it was clear. Miss Yanus, it's clear to anyone how nervous you are. I can practically see the fear you're emanating right now. It's clear that you're hiding something from us. Just tell us the truth. Let's say I were hiding something. Which I'm not, by the way. I don't have to tell you anything. All right? Why should I tell you anything? You're not even with those knights. Appeal. Threaten her. You've already given your statement to the Inquisition. If the truth comes out, what do you think they'll do when they realize you lied to them? You've already given your statement to the Inquisition. If the truth comes out, what do you think they'll do when you realize you lied to them? So who are you protecting, Miss Yanus? You talk a big game, but you can't actually prove anything, can you? You keep trying to say that I'm lying to protect someone. I don't know anyone who can use magic. I don't even know any mages, and I definitely didn't see anyone use magic on the body. Uh-oh, you got. You can't hide the truth from us, Miss Yanis. What? How do they know? You said that you've never even seen a necromancy spell before? If that were true, why is there a trace of necromancy on you? What? There's a trace of necromancy on me? Argument 1. What? She seemed to be genuinely surprised about that. Was she unaware that a spell was cast on her? No. If she didn't know, she wouldn't have avoided Celeste back then. There had to be an explanation for that. Necromancy on you. This is crazy. Why is there a trace of necromancy on me? Did that guy curse me? Am I going to become a zombie? That was strange. She seemed genuinely worried. Was she really unaware that a spell was cast on her? No. She ran away when Celeste was going to scan the crime scene for magical traces. Why doesn't Valentina know that the spell was necromancy? She knew that someone used magic on her, but she didn't know that the spell cast on her was necromancy. Well, necromancy is healing too, though, right? The spell cast on Valentina healed her. Calm down, Miss Eunice. Not all necromancy spells relate to the undead. Healing spells are also from the school of necromancy. Healing spells? Oh, it was from the time she healed that cut. Okay. Happy and surprised? Okay. Someone healed a cut on her? Was that mage a student here? Sorry, I just remembered that there's something else I have to do. I'll be right back. Before we could say anything, she quickly walked out of the room. She seemed to really want to avoid talking about that mage. That mage? But why was that? It's that mage. Hey, we're not done talking to you. Do you want me to just catch her? I'm pretty sure she can't outrun me. The Inquisition is still patrolling the surrounding areas. They probably intervened and we started chasing one of the witnesses. But we weren't able to learn anything. Actually, I did learn one thing. She has a friend who cast a healing spell on her. Really? How did you figure that out? Good deductive reasoning. Well, healing magic is also a form of necromancy, right? I guess that explains why there were magical traces on her. It's a good thing a necromancer isn't actually trying to kill her. Wait a minute. Why were there traces of necromancy on Bellwether's body? Mage cast a healing spell on Bellwether. Uh-huh. That's it! What? This whole time, we've been wondering why there were traces of necromancy on the body. It wasn't because someone attacked Bellwether with a necromancy spell. It was because someone used a necromancy spell to try to heal her. Oh, I get it. It doesn't matter what type of necromancy spell someone uses. Traces from the same school of magic look exactly the same to me. It's not just that, the body clearly bled at some point. How was there blood despite there being no wounds on the body? Well, the healing spell closed the wounds on Bellwether's body. Yeah. What would happen if someone used a healing spell on an injured corpse? It would close all the body's wounds. In other words, it would remove any cuts or bruises. So that's why they couldn't find any wounds on her. Well, interrogating Valentina may have been a dead end, but at least it helped you figure that out. I'm not so sure that was a dead end, especially involving necromancy. What makes you say that? Why would she go to so much trouble to hide those traces on her? It's too coincidental. The wounds on the body were healed by an unknown person, and the person who found the body is hiding the identity of a healing spell cast on her. What if they're the same person? I doubt she'll give us the opportunity to find out for sure. Yeah, she's definitely onto us. We'd done everything we could for now, and we had plenty of evidence to poke holes in the prosecution's case. And if that didn't work, we'd just have to drag Valentina onto the stand and pull the truth out of her. She clearly knew more than she was letting on, and she wouldn't be able to run in the courtroom. All right. I'm telling you, that girl used magic to scan me. Calm down. We don't even know who they are. Didn't you see them, Val? Those two were unreasonably attractive. Okay, but what does that mean? They have to be nobles or something. Commoners don't look that good. Tina, calm down. What if they found out what you did? They can't prove anything. The Inquisition already has our alibi. Alibi? What? Oh, it's just you, Jan. What are you two talking about? We're just talking about those two investigators. They're so weird, right? Like, why are they so attractive? Oh, what? Hang on. What did she say? Why do you keep mentioning that? Yeah. Investigators? Oh, you mean that blonde kid and the girl with the sword? They talked to you, didn't they? Yeah, they asked me a bunch of questions. I think they're investigating Bellwether's murder. What did you tell them? Not much. I saw Bellwether a bit before you found the body, so they wanted to know if I saw anything. Did you see anything? No idea. I just told them about how she shoved me before you two discovered the body. After that, the guy just kept going on and on about getting to the truth and finding the other suspects. Scaled Lord. I think I'm going to be sick. You seemed really interested when I told him Bellwether was going to fire us. What? Why would you tell them about that? Oh, it's not as if it makes any difference, right? With Bellwether gone, I'm pretty sure we'll see a few more paychecks before they fire us. Valentina cursed under her breath. Damn it all. That's probably what they're thinking, too. Are you okay? You don't look so good. Just go away, Jan. Don't you have work to do? Don't remind me. By the way, I made you lunch. It's on the front counter of the kitchen. Thanks. You're a lifesaver, Valerie. They have our motive, Val. They have our motive, and they're gonna find out what we did. You don't know that. Why did Jan have to go blabbering about Bellwether's plan to those two? And why do you keep making meals for him? He doesn't even do anything. What? I'm just gonna come out and say it. I have to run a 2-person kitchen every meal to feed those pampered kids. He just lazes around and complains about his job. Tina, he's overworked. Like hell he's overworked. Every time I see him, he's either napping or barely working. Have you been around the campus? Have you ever seen it dirty? No, but he's the only custodian on staff, and the school board won't let the headmaster hire more. He barely has enough time to sleep. Why do you think he's so tired all the time? Scaled Lord. I'm really sorry. Are we really gonna be okay? Everything is gonna be fine. We just need to do our best and keep our stories straight. Have you been able to get into the library lately? No. The Knights are patrolling around it. I was really hoping we could get one last study session for you before they fire us. Yeah, it's too bad. Oh, is she a noble? Is she got magic? What? Interesting. It was time for the trial, and my heart was thundering against my chest like a drum. Luckily, I'd been reading about some meditative techniques after what happened last time. My name is Tyrion Cuthbert, and I'm fine. I just needed to take breaths and relax. I breathed in, I breathed out. I breathed in. Hi, Tyrion! Ah! Celeste! Don't sneak up on me like that. Are your nerves acting up again? Come on. It's not as if this is your first time defending someone. No, it's just my second time. Oh, it's too bad Ruby couldn't make it. I'd say that. You should calm down for Wallace's sake, but... There are so many people here, and they're all looking at me. Their eyes are prying into me like a pack of flesh-eating maggots. Ew. I needed to calm down. I was just making Wallace more nervous. Don't worry, Wallace. Our investigation revealed a lot of weaknesses in the prosecution's case. We have a strong case for your acquittal. Okay. Actually, that was true. I really had nothing to worry about. See? You can be confident when you want to be. Yeah. Are we going to have any other prosecutors beside her, I wonder? I'm just curious about that. Court is now in session for the trial of Wallace Nightgrave. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Very well, Prosecutor Steelwind. Could you please list the charges? Mr. Nightgrave is a second-year student at the Wirengard Imperial Academy. He is charged with first-degree murder, negligent misuse of the arcane arts, and illegal practice of advanced necromancy. Necromancy? Do you mean to tell me that the defendant is a necromancer? I can't believe it. A necromancer in this day and age. How could the kingdom allow this to happen? Objection! Your Honor, I would like to remind the court they are obligated to judge my client objectively. Of course, but one can easily see it from the list of charges. Necromancy plays a large role in the charges. Indeed, the crime occurred within the academy this afternoon. The victim is Catherine Bellwether, a professor at the school. Although there were no witnesses to the crime, traces of necromancy were detected on the body. Furthermore, the autopsy report shows that the body has no physical wounds. Necromancy is the only type of magic that can harm an individual without physically wounding them. Additionally, an alchemist report shows no sign of poison or disease. One can only conclude that a necromancer had committed the crime. I see! As many of you know, the practice of advanced necromancy is outlawed in the Kingdom of Irengard. Aside from the defendant, no other students had learned advanced necrotic magic. As such, the defendant was the only mage in the building capable of committing the murder. I see. That is compelling evidence. To properly present our case, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orem White to the stand. Commander White, please testify to the court about the Inquisition's findings.
Yeah.
Witness testimony.
It started when the City Watch got a call from the Imperial Academy. Someone was attacked, and the whole building was put on lockdown. We set up a perimeter around the area and waited for the lockdown system to deactivate. When we finally got into the building, the prosecutor personally inspected the body and detected traces of necromancy on it. There were no cuts or bruises on the body either. The entire body was clean. With those two pieces of evidence, we concluded that it could only be the necromancer kid that did it.
Okay. Inquisition's testimony was just as I had expected. I'd already found and identified the holes in Steelwind's case. All I had to do was find that hole in the commander's testimony.
Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination.
Right. The City Watch got a call from the Imperial Academy. Okay. What time did this call come in?
A little after 3 p.m. It was a few minutes after the murder was discovered.
Right. I remember that was around the time the lockdown occurred. Number 2. The lockdown couldn't be ended manually, so they must have been forced to wait for an hour until it was lifted. How secure was this perimeter? Is it possible that someone slipped past you? The Inquisition was working in conjunction with the City Watch and the King's Guard. With that many soldiers at the scene, it's very unlikely that anyone escaped unnoticed. That made sense. For better or worse, the kingdom must have acted quickly to protect a building filled with the children of every noble family. Why did the prosecutor inspect the body instead of the Inquisition?
Well,
Objection!
Well, I choose to lead the investigation is irrelevant to the proceedings. Or would you like to insinuate that I'm not as competent as Commander White? It's not a question of your competency, Steelwind. I just find your actions to be bizarre given how you usually work. While the court admits that the prosecution's actions are unorthodox, we find the presence of a necromancer to be an unorthodox situation. I see no reason to question the prosecutor's actions. Thank you, Your Honor. Okay. There were no cuts or bruises. How carefully was the body checked? Perhaps the prosecution missed something like a small puncture wound. The coroner couldn't find even the smallest cut, bruise, or fracture on the body. Furthermore, the alchemist's report showed no signs of potion or disease. The necromancy spell had obfuscated the post-mortem divination. I spared no expense to verify the cause of death through other means. That made sense. If someone had used men wounds on the body, it would have healed even the most minor of injuries. So how do I prove that someone healed the body? With those two pieces of evidence, we concluded it could only be the necromancer kid that did it. And the prosecution believes that my client used necrotic blight.
Yep. It's the only way that the crime scene makes any sense.
Necrotic blight? I'm afraid I've never heard of this spell before. Necrotic blight is a spell that drains the life force from its target. When used on a living human, it makes their bodily functions cease. The body dies soon after.
I see. What a horrible spell. That commoner should never have been allowed to learn something like that. I'd thought that there would be more protection against children learning this.
Wallace's spell compendium really wasn't doing him any favors. There really is a large stigma against necromancers, isn't there? Well, okay. We already collected a lot of evidence after investigating the crime scene. We already know that the Inquisition's theory contradicts one of the clues we've found. Right. All I have to do is present that contradiction to the court. Is it the blood? Is that what it is? Present. Bloodstain. Yeah, there we go. Commander White, it appears you've neglected to mention one key detail of the crime scene. Yeah, and what's that? During your testimony, you said that the entire body was clean. I will admit that there weren't any wounds on the body. However, the body was certainly not clean. At the scene of the crime, there was a large pool of blood located where the body was. This blood had to have come from the victim's body, and it was certainly not clean like the commander testified. I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but I fail to see the significance of this. I'd like to remind the court of the prosecution's case against my client. They are accusing him of murdering the victim using necrotic blight, a spell which would not have physically wounded the victim. So why was there any blood at all? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The fact still stands, there were no wounds on the body, nor were there any reports of poison or disease on the autopsy. There are clearly magical elements in this case. But Catherine Bellwether was bleeding profusely at some point. How else would there be a bloodstain on the body? Do you have an explanation for that, Miss Steelwind? No. I'll admit that the prosecution doesn't have an explanation for that. And while I do find the circumstances questionable, all other evidence clearly points to the defendant. Which spell would leave a trace of necromancy? So tell me, Mr. Cuthbert, if the victim wasn't killed with necromancy, why was there a trace of it on the body? I'm glad you asked. I'd like to present a spell that could have left a trace of necromancy on the body. That would be Mend Wounds. Mend Wounds? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that a healing spell? That's correct, Your Honor. Spells from the School of Necromancy can control the forces of death and life. Mend Wounds is, in fact, a necromancy spell. Really now? I wasn't aware of this. Now, I'd like the court to consider the following. What would happen if Bellwether was wounded and someone attempted to heal her using Mend Wounds? All of her wounds would disappear from her body. I see. That does make sense.
Jackson!
Do you think that I'm that incompetent, Mr. Cuthbert? Frankly, I'm a little insulted. What? The Inquisition is well aware what happens when a mage attempts to save a victim using Mend Wounds. The healers that arrived on the scene already confirmed that the victim was long dead. None of them attempted to heal her. Well, what if someone tried to heal her and didn't report it? Please, none of the healers would have anything to gain by doing so. In fact, as a necromancer, the defendant could have easily carried out the described scenario. He could have cast Mend Wounds on the victim after murdering her to confound the investigation. At the end of the day, the burden of proof was on us. But if I could prove someone else healed the body, I would sever the only thread linking Wallace to the murder. However, whoever this healer was, Valentina definitely knew her. Your Honor, I will admit that I don't have any evidence to support my theory. However, I do believe that we can bring it to light. There may have been two people that witnessed someone cast magic on the body. Valentina and Valerie Yannis, the sisters who discovered the body. This is nonsense. We've already questioned those two witnesses extensively. If they had witnessed something like that, it would have come up in their testimony. If that's true, then the courts have nothing to lose by hearing their testimonies. Very well. If you're so confident, let's hear their testimony. It seems the prosecution has no objections. If this line of questioning leads nowhere, however, I see no reason to further prolong this trial. Of course, Your Honor. Oh crap, it's that guy from before. What? He's the necromancer's lawyer? She just arrived at the stand and she was already stressed out. That would work in my favor. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name? Witness, there's no need to be so nervous. We merely want to hear about what you saw on the day of the murder. Right, it's just that guy over there, Are you talking about Mr. Cuthbert? Did this man harass you, witness? Wait a minute. Yeah, he super harassed me. Mr. Cuthbert, I would expect some of your profession to behave more professionally. I could hear Celeste snickering under her breath. You're enjoying this far too much. Anyways, please state your name and occupation for the court, Miss Yanis. Just calm down, he can't prove anything. My name is Valentina Yanis. I'm the head chef at the Weirengard Imperial Academy. Really? And at such a young age. As I recall, you were one of the witnesses who discovered the body. Apparently, the defense finds your involvement suspect. Rest assured, Miss Yanis, in this courtroom, you will be protected from Mr. Cuthbert's harassment. Ugh. Now, please testify to the court on what happened that day. Yeah. Witness testimony. Okay. I was walking with my sister in the West Wing when we noticed something in a nearby classroom. We looked over to see what it was. That's when we saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. My sister did her best to help her, but the professor had already lost a lot of blood. While my sister did that, I used an emergency communication device to call for help. But it was too late. By the time her bleeding stopped, she'd already lost too much blood. If your theory is true, then that means she just lied in her testimony. She's holding something back. She definitely saw more than she's letting on. I just needed to prove that somehow. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Yeah, this is weird. Okay, why are you saying that there was all this blood when there's no injury? Where were you two coming from? We came from the kitchen. We were taking a break after the lunch rush. The cafeteria was on the west side of the academy, so that made sense. What did you see in the classroom, Miss Eunice? Miss Bellwether. Did you notice anything else strange in the lecture hall? Well, there was that terrible smell. It was awful. I almost couldn't see because of how much I was tearing up. Makes sense. Aside from Bellwether, that smell was the most notable thing in that room. It would have been hard to notice anything else. So she tried to help her. Miss Eunice, how exactly did your sister try to help Miss Bellwether? What? I slipped up. Oh, my sister used first aid to try to stop the bleeding. I see. Could you please add that detail to your testimony? Yeah, sure. She used first aid and applied pressure to her wound. Hang on. Wait. Where's the thing about her not having... Let's see. Autopsy report. Objection! Yeah. Witness, what is the meaning of this? What are you looking at me like that? Maybe I can elaborate, Miss Yanis. You weren't present in the gallery earlier, were you? No, I was waiting in the lobby. Lady Steelwind told me to wait there. I considered myself lucky. This wouldn't have been nearly as easy if Valentina had seen my cross-examination of Orem. You see, Miss Yanis, one key element of the case is that the body didn't have any wounds on it. Yeah? So that begs the following question. How did Valerie apply first aid when there shouldn't have been any wounds on the body? What? Oh no, did I screw up? But I saw that wound on her. What happened? There's clearly something amiss here, but I'm afraid I don't fully understand the implications of this. Are you accusing the witness of committing perjury, Mr. Cuthbert? When someone lied, they kept it as close to the truth as possible while changing minute details. In her thoughts, Valentina said that she was sure she saw a wound on Bellwether. She also mentioned that Valerie was the one who tried to save the professor. I knew that someone had cast healing magic on the body. That was why the wounds had disappeared. If the wounds disappeared after the twins discovered the body, that could only mean one thing. The witness was lying, Your Honor, but not about everything. Valerie Yanis did try to save the victim's life by addressing her wounds. But she didn't use first aid, she used magic. Huh? How did he figure it out?
Objection!
I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but your theory is completely flawed. So, Steelwind. Well, it's quite simple. We've already verified that neither of the sisters is a mage. What? Wait, how can you be so sure? During the investigation, we had both the Yanis sisters attuned to a spell compendium. It's standard procedure for the Inquisition when interviewing witnesses. Then that means neither of the Yena sisters could attune to a compendium. Ha! That's right! The Inquisition checked us both! Did they? Twins. We're not mages! That was close. Was I wrong about Valerie being a mage? No, that couldn't be right. Yeah, how did he figure it out? Right. Flashback to thing that just happened, by the way. Her thoughts said, how did he figure it out? That meant that I was on the right track. Valerie had to be the mage I was waiting for. Celeste, is it possible for a mage to hold a spell companion and avoid attuning to it? No, it just needs to be on their person. When I was arrested, the Inquisition also made me attune to one of their spell compendiums. They were really careful to make sure that I did the attunement correctly. There's no way a mage could avoid it with them watching you. Right. Commander White may have been negligent sometimes, but even he wasn't that careless. Now, if you're done, I do believe you've exhausted all of your options. Oh, wait! I'm still not done cross-examining this witness. What could you possibly hope to glean from her testimony? Valentina was stressed out enough to see her thoughts, but I couldn't exactly say that I was planning to read her mind. And at this point, I felt that I was already testing the judge's patience. There's one key element of her testimony that the court is overlooking. I have a right, as an attorney, to complete my cross-examination. Your Honor, the defense is clearly trying to buy time. I might be compelled to agree with you. However, I'll also admit that some elements of the witness's testimony are quite peculiar. I will allow the defense to continue their cross-examination. That was close. But know that this is your last chance, Mr. Cuthbert. If you produce nothing substantial with your questioning, I will pass my verdict. Of course, Your Honor. All right, it was all or nothing. If I couldn't find anything by reading her mind, this whole case was finished. Witness, please give your testimony once more. Oh, okay. How long does he plan to keep me up here? Okay. Okay. What is she saying now? Like I said, my sister and I saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground and rushed over to her. Definitely surprised when I saw her like that. I can't go back on that now. I just need to play dumb. Now that you mention it, I don't know if I saw any wounds on her, but I definitely saw blood. My sister tried to save her, but she didn't use any magic. Valerie, you're too kind-hearted. Okay. We're not mages. Both of us held that book that the knight gave us. I was caught off guard when they asked us. They almost found us out. The commander was watching us the whole time. He can confirm it. It's a good thing that we're twins, or else that trick wouldn't have worked. Yep. What are we gonna do? They have a pretty hard proof that Valerie isn't a mage. Valerie is the mage we're looking for. I'm sure of it. I'm just not sure why they felt the need to lie to the Inquisition. And more importantly, how did they trick the Inquisition? The twins! Alright. That matched the details of her previous testimony. There was nothing suspicious there, but I had no reason to doubt this. I don't know if I saw any wounds. It sounds like you're just backtracking on your previous testimony. I'm not! I guess I just assumed she was wounded because of all the blood. How was I supposed to know she didn't have any wounds? There was so much blood. Her thoughts implied that she was lying, but her logic was sound. I should look at the thoughts that appeared during her other statements. Valerie. Okay. If Valerie wasn't the one who closed her wounds, how did she try to help her? I don't know. She might have been looking for an open wound to apply first aid to. But if we assume that you're telling the truth, there wouldn't be any wounds to find. My client would have already closed them to confound the investigation. I'm telling you, I don't know. She's pleading ignorance of what happened. Okay. They almost found them out. Can I assume that this book was an unattuned spell compendium? Yes, the Inquisition has several of them. It's a standard procedure to have witnesses attuned to them. But doesn't the kingdom require that mages register? Why don't you just cross-reference those records with witnesses' names? For whatever reason, many mages among the common folk avoid registering with the kingdom. As a result, many of them choose to hide their abilities. Okay. Or else that trick wouldn't have worked. Interpret.
Objection!
Miss Yanis, your thoughts betray you. What? I found the thought. They must have done something to trick Orem, but what? It must have happened when he was interrogating them. RM collected their statements. How are they holding up? I'd imagine they'd be rattled after discovering a body. From what he said, they were extremely tense, but I suppose that's to be expected. He told me that they couldn't sit still. Found it difficult to take their statements because of that. They couldn't sit still. That implied they were moving somehow. She also thought it was a good idea that they were twins. How did the twins trick the Inquisition? That means that their so-called trick wouldn't have worked otherwise. Valentina switched places with Valerie. Of course, they switched places. Valentina attuned to the first spell compendium. Then she pretended to be Valerie to attune to the second one. They even wear the same uniform. No wonder Commander White couldn't tell the difference between them. Miss Yanus, there's something I want to confirm. During the investigation, both you and Valerie attuned to a spell compendium. Yeah, that night watched us do it. And how did he have you do this? Did you both attune to those compendiums at the same time? Or did you attune one after another? What? I fail to see how that makes any difference, Mr. Cuthbert. Yes, I agree. The spell compendiums would work regardless of what order they went in. You may not be aware of this, Your Honor, but Valentina and Valerie Yanus are identical twins, which means that their physical appearances are nearly identical to each other. They also work in the same kitchen, which means that they must have been wearing the same uniform during questioning. If Commander White didn't have them attuned at the same time, what would stop the twins from switching places with one another?
Objection!
This is clearly nothing but baseless conjecture. Orm wouldn't fail at such a basic task. Really, Prosecutor Steelwind? Do you find it hard to believe that Commander White would fail at a task like this? Even so, the gift of magic is inherited through bloodlines. For a pair of genetically identical twins, it would be impossible for one twin to be a mage while the other is not. Has that been proven, Steelwind? Because as far as I'm concerned, that is baseless conjecture. Wait a minute, this is crazy. We didn't trick the Inquisition. I keep telling you, my sister and I aren't mages. Then prove it, Miss Yanus. Bring in your sister, and we'll have you attune to 2 spell compendiums at the same time. No!
Order!
Order in the court! It's clear that we won't get anywhere unless we test the defense's theory. Bailiff, escort Valerie Yanus to the stand and bring 2 unattuned spell compendiums. They both had their hands on those compendiums for the last 10 minutes. There's no way they can fake it in front of this many people. All right, it was the moment of truth. I can only hope that my theory was correct. No. Did he seriously? What is it, Prosecutor Steelwind? What I see is the commander seeking new employment in the near future. It appears that the defense was correct. Valentina Yanus isn't a mage, but Valerie Yanus is. What's more... Yeah, the salary-cutting noises, we know it. Valerie Yanus' compendium contains the Mend Wounds spell, which makes the defense's theory entirely plausible. Please, just allow me to explain. We should allow you to explain what, exactly? You're an unregistered mage, and you and your sister have made a mess of the investigation and this trial. How would you know what it's like, Lady Steelwind? What? Do you think we don't know who you are? You're not like us. You don't have to hide. But it's okay. This whole situation has gotten out of hand. I didn't think hiding it would cause so much trouble. And I won't let someone go to prison because of me, even if he is a necromancer. Please let me testify about what I saw. I'll tell all of you what really happened that day. Your Honor, I believe we may all benefit from hearing Miss Yanus' testimony. Very well, but understand that there will be repercussions for your actions, witness. I know. All right. I think I'm going to save it and call it for here. And next time we will jump back in, because this is getting interesting for sure. But I don't know. Yeah, I think this case probably is going to go on a lot longer than the first case did. So we're just going to keep going next week. So we will see you next Saturday and we're gonna finish up episode 2. See ya.